into reality, decided to create a platform called Environmental Lagos. In those 3 years, Environmental Lagos platform has done a lot of things. It's induced Mr. Alex, who will tell us about those things, and why we decided to commemorate the 3rd anniversary with this discussion. Topic, once again, for those that are joining us, we'll keep referring to it, is the effect of refuse and other forms of abuse on roads and transport infrastructure in Lagos. The effect of refuse and other forms of abuse on roads and transport
I will call you back once I'm out.
Infrastructure in Lagos. I believe the form of the meeting will need some recap. So the program of the meeting will be put out. There's a point for recap midway, because I know when someone like Engineer Aramide speak, you need to take a breather, relax, digest it before you take on maybe someone coming next on that lineup. And the same goes for someone like Mr. Fola Tinubu. These are all loaded people. Mr. Taiwo Adewole is loaded. And so we're going to have a rapporteur in the house, Ms. Koinsola Kuku, a TV personality. Ms. Koinsola Kuku will be taking note of all this. So if at the end of the day, just like we had some early birds, if we will be having some late birds, they will be able to benefit from the summary at the end of this event. People will be coming in and out. That's why it's called Zoom. They zoom in, they zoom out. So I'm going to start off with the founder of Environmental Lagos platform. Mr. Alex, when we met, it's been wonderful. But I knew the platform predates our meeting, and there have been things that happened before then, and there are things still happening. So please, in some few minutes, we'd like you to give the welcome address and say something about Environmental Lagos platform and the achievements so far. Mr. Alex Omorodion, please. Mr. Alex Omorodion, is it there? Can everyone hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
All right.
We can hear you clearly.
Zimo, please. I would like
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Fola. Zimo, please kindly unmute all the panelists. Those are the only people that their microphones should not be muted. All panelists, please.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
And they equally have the opportunity of unmuting themselves as well.
All right. Thank you very much. So please, all panelists, kindly leave your microphones on unless you need to attend to one or two things that you think will bother the meeting, then you mute it. Is Mr. Alex still with us? Mr. Alex Omorodion, the founder.
He's with us, but we can't hear him. Right? Perhaps he's having some technical issues over there.
Okay. While we'll wait for Mr. Alex to join us and give us that speech, the founder's speech. Mr. Alex, are you with us now? Mr. Alex, are you with us? Okay. We'll always have these challenges at times. Sorry about that, dear participants. We'll be taking the first speaker now. And like I said earlier, this discussion, the panelists are all loaded. And we'll go straight to the first speaker, who is Mr. Alex Akhigbe. Mr. Alex Akhigbe, let me just give a brief rundown of his profile. Mr. Alex Akhigbe is the CEO founder of African Cleanup Initiative. This is a not-for-profit organization raising environmentally responsible citizens across Africa. And Mr. Akhigbe has been involved in more than 7 major projects. Notable ones are the Africa Cleanup Conference and Award and RecyclePay Educational Project. I'm going to be coming back to you, Mr. Akhigbe, on that RecyclePay Educational Project, which is probably the point where I'll be leading you from. In the course of this discussion, while you have the opportunity to present, to speak at will, there might be some level of uncertainty involved where we might just lead you and point you to one or two things. In partnership with the US Consulate in Lagos this year, Mr. Akhigbe had a Clean for Impact project where about 100 volunteers clean water currently present in Victoria Island, Lagos. It's an alumni of the African Chainmaker Fellowship Program. Also, part of the Entrepreneurship Development Center and had courses from the Lagos Business School Leadership Program. And it's also a recipient of many awards. Mr. Akhigbe, are you with me, sir?
I am with you, sir.
Right, sir. It's a quite loaded profile. And I kept looking at it. When I see things like this, I say, wow, Nigerians are doing wonderful things. So I'm looking at 2 things on your profile, and that's where I'm going to be leading you from, sir.
Okay.
U.S. Consulate Partnership, over 100 volunteers to clean water currently increasing. And then the RecyclePay Educational Project. From what I got about the RecyclePay Educational project went global. We had a lot of media houses, even international media houses that followed up on this project. And I think it involved, I'm speaking layman, involved payments in exchange for plastics being brought in by students, especially students that are from less privileged background. Am I right, sir?
Very correct, sir.
Okay, sir. Then I saw it that your organization is based on raising responsible citizens, especially in the environmental climate. So we're looking at our topic, the effects of refuse and other forms of abuse on roads and transport infrastructure in Lagos. And I'll be leading you from that point of the people's involvement, sir. What's your take on this topic? And I'd like you to take it from the angle of the responsibility of people, how to co-opt them into this as a solution. So the floor is yours, Mr. Akhigbe.
Thank you very much, sir. It's an honor to be on this platform, sir. How many minutes do I have? I like to be conscious of time. So,
Okay, you have 15 minutes, sir.
oh my goodness!
It was said to you in your letter.
God will help me.
You know how Zoom can be with data, so you have to be time conscious.
15 minutes. Okay, let me just go straight to the major things then, since I have 15 minutes. Thank you so much once again. Let me come in from the 2 projects you just mentioned that we organized in our organization, which is we have like over 8-9 different projects we run. But these 2 you just mentioned, which is the Clean for Impact. Clean for Impact majorly is a project that is targeted at corporate organizations and institutions, a kind of partner with them to engage their own employees in environmental cleanliness and advocacy. And so before now, we'll be doing some, and one of our projects in the past, of which we will still run, is Clean Up Nigerian project. So that one, basically what we do is we're going to community, we're going to local government, we raise volunteers from the community, we involve the Community Development Association, everybody, and we'll clean up all of that environment. We've been doing that since 2010. We've done several in Lagos and outside Lagos. But the uniqueness about Clean for Impact this time around is we are saying that every corporate organization that does business or runs business, that they also should be responsible for their business environment. They should be responsible for what happens where they do their business. And so we Clean for Impact. We were saying, okay, fine, if we're going to partner with US Embassy in Lagos, what that means is they are going to involve like 70, 80, 90% of their staff will be the major part of the volunteers that will show up for that event. Then Africa Club Initiative volunteers definitely will turn up as well, but it will be low on our part and more on their part, because we felt that if they are doing business, they're making money, they're touching life, they should also do something for the environment where they do their business. That is why we call it Clean for Impact. And so we've done that with the US Embassy, and we're working with several organizations, and so we're like, okay, your volunteers, your staff will be the major volunteers. And so the second one, which is the RecyclePoints educational project, like you did mention, is a platform that allows out of school children have access back to school, and the ones that are in school in low-income communities find an alternative to staying in school. Presently, I'm from a low-income community. I was born in Adewole, and so I grew up in a low-income community. I understand what it means to be out of school because you cannot afford to pay your school fees. And so most of the times when we go around these low-income communities, we see a lot of kids selling pure water, helping their moms in shop, and they're like, why are you not in school? Some you will hear they sent me back because I cannot pay my school fees. I had lots of those kind of experience as something that I have seen over and over again. And many cannot afford to go because they don't have money to pay. And so we felt like, okay, good. We have a solution. We operate in the environmental space. We cannot give up money to everybody to go back to school. But to an extent, since our vision is focused on raising environmentally responsible citizens, then everyone, whether you're a baby, you're a child, you're a father, you're a mother, to an extent, you can take responsibility, you can take charge of what happened in the environment. And so we say, okay, fine. Plastics are everywhere. The recyclables are everywhere. The PET bottles, the can, the pure water sachets, the carton, they're everywhere. Why not collect these items? We will collect it from you, and in exchange for your school fees. And so some of the schools we work with, they are low-income schools, and so on the average, what they pay as school fees is more like, say, 5K per term. Some pay 7,000 per term. And so the ones that are paying 5,000 per term, what we did is, because we are an NGO, we had to partner with recycling agencies like the Recyclers and the RecyclePoints. Those are the ones that collect the bottles for business. And so what we say, okay, fine, we'll bring these bottles to you, and you will give us money in exchange for the bottles, which we will use as the school fees for the kids to stay in school. And so that was how we launched the project. That was like in December 2018. And from that point till now, it's been amazing the kind of results we've gotten, the kind of impact we've gotten. People have actually keyed into it, because for them, they see it as in school that their kids are no longer sent home. And so the idea now for that particular project is, it is not the kids, it's not the children that actually goes around looking for the bottles. It is their parents that are the major principal factor here. The key focus is the parents actually that gets the bottle, because the children should be in school to learn, and so the children should be, the parents are the one that gets the bottle. And so in a term, like for example, in a month, we'll have what we call the pickup time, where we go to the school, the parents bring the bottles to the school, we will collect it from them, we'll weigh it, and from the way we'll know the amount, and so they begin to deduct that from their school fees. And the money we collect from the bottles, we don't give it back to the parents. We pay it directly to the school, because we don't want a situation whereby you collect the bottle from the parent, give the person the money, the person use the money to feed, and at the end of the day, the child still sent back home. And so when they bring the bottles, the recyclables, we weigh it, the money we pay directly to the school so that the child can stay in school to learn. All of these are actions that are actually tailored towards everybody taking responsibility for their environment. Looking at the topic you just mentioned, I'm speaking more from the part of the work I do and from the part of advocacy. Most times, if they don't know the implications of if people don't actually know the implications of their action, they don't see anything wrong about it. For them, they feel they can go ahead. And so we decide to, okay, for example, talking about refuse here. Refuse, to me, my own understanding might not be the same understanding to a layman or something. To a layman, the plastic bottle is a refuse. To a layman, the can is a refuse. But for me, those are not refuse. but rather I see them as maybe as an asset or something of value that can actually solve a particular problem. And so what we do most of the time is to ensure that we sensitize the people. Most of our job is actually done in the low-income environment, low-income community. That's where we actually carry most of our project, because those sort of people, the other day we went to do something at Ijora, and I was asking the person, we were giving them face masks, this COVID-19, and I was like, okay, fine, I have 200 naira in my hand. 200 naira will get you one face mask. 200 naira will get you maybe Indomie or lunch or something. And I asked the person, which will you prefer? If I give you the 200 naira, will you go and buy a face mask and cover yourself and stay alive and stay, or you go and buy food and eat? And virtually 95 of them up there that they will go and buy food and eat, because for them, food, the stomach is top priority. And those are the kind of feedback we get from the low-income communities that we work with. And so somebody that have a market close to the road, after selling, maybe at night or in the morning, carry his or her refuse and come and drop it on the road, because for him, it's a narrow way out. It's an escape route. For maybe so that person will not pay Loma fee, or maybe so that person when the government will not come looking for the person. And so for him or her, it's an easiest way to dispose their waste. And mind you, the other day, one of my volunteers shared a video with me, and she was like, their house has virtually been taken over by water. And what is all of this thing? It's the flood in the environment, where the drainages are blocked with refuse and all of those stuff. In computer terms, what we call GIG, or garbage in and garbage out. It is what you put into the environment that will come back to us. And so we do a lot of this advocacy, and we make them understand that dumping refuse on the street is not the best way to dispose your refuse. You might see it as a shortcut. You might see it as a way of trying to, let me just get over it at this moment, but it comes back later on. For every road, for example, that is being built in Lagos, the contractor will tell you this road is expected to last for like maybe 15 years, or maybe like 10 years, or maybe like 20 years. But at the end of the day, you see that some of these roads don't even stay up to like 4 or 5 years. And you begin to ask yourself, what actually happened? This road was actually designed to last for these longer numbers of years, but they don't stop to that point, because when the refuse that is being dumped on this road stay there for a longer period of time, they begin to release all kind of leachate and all other stuff of pollution into the environment that affects the road. And if this debts that are poured on the road at some point, they get so filled up, they find their way to the gutters, and they block the gutters. And when the rain starts coming, the water will not flow freely. It comes back to this road and begin to weaken the texture, weaken the capacity of that road to stay longer than expected. And so for me, I feel to a large extent, if we're doing advocacy, we need to look at advocacy from different angles. From number one, the community development associations. That is where we live, the tenants and the landlords. Every community, every local government have a CDA chairman. Okay, what are they doing in terms of awareness, in terms of sensitization, to ensure that their waste to a large extent is being cared for in that community, and discouraging that habit of people taking their waste into the major road to go and dispose it? That is one angle. Number two, we looked at the CSR, corporate social responsibility. Some organizations, some companies, that was the reason why we started Clean for Impact project, because we noticed to a large extent that every business owner is more concerned about doing business, making profit from where there's only very few that is more passionate or concerned about what can we do to better our immediate environment where we are doing business. Only very few of them. And so that was why we said, okay, fine, Clean for Impact will be tailored towards these corporate organizations. Will we engage them at that level and say, you are doing business here, what are you doing to ensure that, in fact, we had a lot of plans we were supposed to execute before COVID came. We were supposed to do another one with Mocha Foam on the in Ikeja. Actually, I think it was supposed to be like in June or so. But when COVID came, everything just went hanging like that. And so many organizations, we were talking with them. So we have the capacity in terms of ensuring that we map out the plan, we look for our own volunteers, but your staff need to understand that beyond making money, beyond earning their salary, beyond getting being fulfilled, they also have a part to play when it comes to ensuring that that immediate environment actually kept clean. And so we looked at it at that level again, corporate social responsibility, the CDA, and now the market people as well. The market people, and some of these at times, my house is not, I used to live somewhere around Jakonde Gates before. If you come, maybe probably sometime, maybe not I think it's on the Thursday before, you will notice that Some of their waste is being lined up on the road because maybe they feel Loma will come and move it. And so if Loma don't come at the time they were expected to come, that place will end up being a nuisance. It ends up being smelly, and that is not actually healthy for our road. And so the market people, some of the market in Lagos, and so most of them are concerned about, and I'm talking about the market, the Thursday market. Most of them are concerned about paying the money they're expected to pay. So they will just say, okay, every Thursday they're meant to pay this market fee. They will pay it, and once they pay it, nothing happens again. But beyond that payment, there should be an engagement. There should be an engagement. There should be an engagement from the market association. There should be an engagement for the community association. There should be an engagement for the corporate organization, and individual as well. We also have a part to play, because all of these things we are seeing here, there's always a side effect. There's always the impact it's going to have on our lives. You're going to have on the environment itself. And so we need to do all of these things intentionally. And that is why we are in our organization now, to a large extent, we have volunteers where from time to time we talk to them about what they need to know about the environment, to engage them in our community activities, so that they also have an experience of what it means to be involved in part of the solution. Because it's not only about creating the problem, we also start thinking about how we can bring the solution into play. And so that is majorly the angle of advocacy that we have been shouting and carrying out for a while now, when it comes to ensuring that everybody take responsibility when it comes for ensuring that the environment is kept clean. And now, to a large extent, before now, people actually think everything is a waste. But now, to a large extent, people are beginning to understand that there's what they call the recyclable kind of waste. Before now, we were being made to understand everything is waste, plastic, cans. But now, not everything. We have the recyclable waste, and we have the non-recyclable. And so it's something that is a kind of orientation, there's a kind of awareness that we need to keep pushing, so that it gets into the mind of people. I appreciate the fact that on this panel we have people that are going to talk about the transportation, because it will amaze you that as it is now, the people will still get into the vehicle, public vehicle, they will buy their gala, they will buy whatever, and will throw the bottle out from the road. And I keep asking myself, that bottle you are throwing out from the window of the moving vehicle, where are you expecting that bottle to get to? Or who are you expecting to come and pick that bottle on your behalf? It's a function of mindset, it's a function of culture, the way of life of the people. We have projects that actually takes us to primary schools and secondary schools to talk to them about the environment, because we feel that they also need to start learning it from that level. And so when they get to them, they can talk to their friends, they can talk to the parents, and everybody. It's a joint effort. It's something that everyone needs to be involved. It's something that we cannot leave only for the government. We all have a part to play in it. So that's the angle of the advocacy I want to dwell more on now, because the kind of diseases that we get from a dirty environment, from those refugees that are dumped on the streets, is not something that everybody will love to be associated with. And that's why we need to ensure that we do our part when it comes to ensuring that everybody takes the responsibility and their part. Even the road transport workers. The road transport workers, for example, if you go to the motor park, you go to, how do they manage their refuse? How do they manage the kind of waste that they generate at that point? At some point, we wanted to do something with I think it was Yaba also, the NURT, Yaba, we went there for a meeting, we tried to engage them. You need to see the kind of nonchalant attitude we are putting forth. So we're not even asking them to pay anything. All what we're saying that we want to work with you guys to ensure that everyone come out, both the drivers, the conductors, will pick a day and we'll clean the environment. After the clean of the environment, we'll mount maybe bigger bins at some point where they can be putting their bottles. Then after a while, we'll come and pick those bottles from the, but nobody was even willing to listen. And I was not saying to myself, is it that they don't understand what I'm talking about, or they are thinking we want to come and collect money from them? It's something we want to do in partnership with you guys, but nobody was forthcoming. And so we begin to get that kind of feedback that is, well, if not that for us, it's something we've decided to do. But it can be very discouraging when you're putting all the effort to ensure that things get better, and the people you want to work with are thinking something different. It's more like, it can be very discouraging, but for us, it's something that we are keen on doing. And that's why we would not want to relate on all of that. So the Community Development Association, the market people, the road transport workers, the corporate organization, everyone have a part to play. because if it's bounced back, hello.
Well, we should, Mr. Alex.
Okay, fine. Okay, I was hearing the voice at the background. Now, the impact of the refuse on the road is something that it cannot, it's something we need to look at critically, because the physical nuisance of the solid waste to the environment alone, I'm very sure some of us, when we're driving, we saw this kind of waste on the road. We want to take our eyes somewhere
It's a
else.
lot
And you are like,
of
oh,
stuff.
this is smelly. I know why heap of waste on the road. But then,
Okay, sir.
the government, the next thing that will come to your mind is the government. The government is not working. And I keep asking, is it the government that brought this waste from their home and come and dump at this particular place? It's we individuals. And so when things like that comes up, we shouldn't be quick to look at it is the government, it is the government. Ask yourself, what am I doing right? What am I not doing right? Ask yourself, do I need to do a further kind of engagement, or I need to do something else? So it's not all about government. It's every one of us responsibility. We all have a responsibility to play.
All
Refuse
right,
that are being disposed on the
Mr.
streets,
Akhigbe,
it can be, yeah.
I have to pause you a bit there. There's still going to be time for you to come up for a summary. But I
Okay.
want to be on the same page here. And so far, you've told us that basically we need to have a mindset change and see refuse, in different ways. And there are people involved, people like you, that see refuse as assets and think some things can come out from this refuse instead of waste. But we're also looking at, I'm trying to marry the two. Now, would there refuse just because we might have some people involved in business of, of refuse, conversion and every other thing? Or you think we need to bring it down? If we bring it down, people like you in that business, people like some of the partners you mentioned, will they not be affected? I want you to come back later on that, so let's take note of it. Also, you mentioned advocacy, sir. You mentioned advocacy starting from residential estates, CDAs, and all that. You mentioned CSR, a situation where there's a nonchalant from companies who believe we're paying taxes, we're doing so many things for Lagos State. We have no business doing anything in the environment or doing anything within our immediate surroundings anymore. We just dump it. Lagos State takes care of it. After all, they take a lot of money from us. So we have these people, the corporate angle, that are not doing what they should do. And you talked about the market people. You talked about the trade, social activity going on here, but the essence of hygiene, the essence of cleanliness is lost on some of these people. I also got you speaking on the NURTW. And if I'm to put all this together, I'm seeing you advocating for policy change, you ready to drive people, but most importantly, you needing the government to listen to you in formulating some of the policies, your policy statement, the reaction and all this, huh?
You're very correct.
Okay, so we're going to hold you at our 200 picture on this page. We're going to hold you, and then we'll go back to taking Mr. Alex Omorodion. I can see a Dr. Jones Esson that raised the answer. We're not yet at the question and answer time yet, but by God's grace, we'll be able to take everybody. These are ready, and I'm sure we are attended to. So kind of hold on the time for questions. Some more. Mr. Ross now. Mr. Alex Omorodion, are you with us now? Those are some of the technical glitches you can have with Zoom. The SA, while we're waiting for Mr. Alex, we're having the SA Works and Infrastructure to the Lagos State Governor, Engineer Aramide Adeyoye, coming up soon. And once again, we're speaking on the effects of refuse and other forms of abuse on roads and transport infrastructure in Lagos. If you've been living in Lagos for some years now, I'll let you know something. The basic issues of Lagos states, possibly you look at bad roads, you look at traffic, you look at flooding, you look at security, you look at electricity. But we found out that this topic is so loaded that we might be able to even spend like 6 hours on this topic, because every other thing is encapsulated in this topic. Refuse will take us to bad roads, just like Mr. Alex Akhigbe said. Effluent running on those roads, they destroy the road, and before you know it, we have bad roads. Now we go from bad roads, we have flooding because coagulants and every other thing are clogging the drains. This water will not go anywhere, so they come on the road, and they're not clean water in any way. They're chemicals already, and they destroy the soil competence, they destroy so many things on this road. So you have bad roads, you have potholes, you have craters, and so many other things. And then these craters are going to cause traffic. Manpower will be lost, and so many other things will be affected. There will be delay in getting to work. You are fatigued, you get to work, your productivity level is low. And then you have the traffic robbery. You come back late at night, and before you know it, someone is pointing a gun at you, taking valuables from you, and you just say, oh God, what is all this? And you have the traffic hawking. I could remember years back when there was a situation and a luxury bus on the BRT lane was burned sometime, I think in Maryland or thereabout, because of an accident. So we found out that today's topic has every other problem of Lagos tied into it. You've seen the build-up. Refuse take us to bad roads, flooding, traffic robbery, traffic hawking can lead to accidents, and it's a big thing, big issue. And so for platform that I've been speaking on, the environmental platform, and so the founder of that platform, Mr. Omorodion, is going to charge us, is going to tell us what has been happening for the past 3 years. Mr. Alex, are you ready now?
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon to Sabi using Zoom.
You hold up some gurus, okay.
He read computer science, tech, who is guiding me this.
It's okay. It's their time now.
But I'm happy we're here. We are using this opportunity to celebrate the 3rd year anniversary of our dear platform. You all know how the platform came about, an inspiration, timely one, and the successes we've achieved within a short time, 3 years. Well, the successes achieved looks like we've been around for like 15 years, but there's still more work to be done. But this is our Lagos. This is our dear Lagos. Now the platform is there. People bring their complaints onto the platform, and we've been seeing how the complaints have been resolved from public servants, from like Engineer Adeyoye, Aramide Adeyoye, and of course private individuals like Mr. Fola Tinubu, and also some other, many other state officials. Now, without speaking too much, because I don't know how to talk too much, I believe in action. Come to today's topic, the effect of refuse and other forms of abuse on roads and transport infrastructure in Lagos. We are currently going through the rainy season, and we have seen pictures, that popular image of the rainbow particles in the canal, overflowing canal at Akhigbe patient in Sudbury. It happened in 2017 when this platform was created. The same thing happened in 2018, 2019, and it's happened again this year. And then, of course, I've seen comments on Facebook, on Instagram, that is it that we are not learning any lessons. And that I would quote what engineer Aramide Adeyoye will be saying of recent, that indeed we have to change our attitude. We take refuse, which my brother Alex Akhigbe sees, and I agree with him, as an asset or waste as an asset, which can be used to generate income. We just throw the refuse around. Somebody is sitting in an expensive car in traffic, he dumps refuse. This road is drains, rainfalls. The flood water has nowhere to go to. I still have in my mind the lagoon at Akhigbe in Ikorodu. I'm sure Engineer Adeyoye remembers. She sent out the pictures, the private chat, last week when it rained, and I believe the place is still flooded. So we need to change our attitude because this issue of refuse in the drains causes flooding, but we don't learn. The flood goes into our homes, it destroys our properties, our assets. It makes us lose man hours. The water on the road destroys the road, and then but we still see people not respecting the road. We see people who wash clothes, who pour it onto tarred roads. The road gets spoiled. They throw waste into the road. This waste back into the drainage. The drainage gets flooded. The fact comes back to the road gets spoiled. Over money which will be used maybe pump some other infrastructure. So these are some of the effects of refuse on our roads. And of course, once the roads are flooded, when the roads develop potholes, what do we have? We have traffic. The BRT buses of our big brother, Mr. Fola, Tinubu, of course, they have their dedicated lanes. But in this Lagos that we are in, no matter how strong those dedicated lanes are, they get flooded as well. Why do they get flooded? Because the drains are blocked by refuse. My mind goes to Ikorodu Road, which the BRT buses use a lot. The waste which is dropped at Ebute Meta, for example, goes into the drainage and to block the drains. When it rains, the water and Akhigbe has nowhere to go to, comes onto the road, and then potholes. The BRT go through the lane, the bombs. BRT is going speed. Don't be surprised that you get into the pothole because the flood has caused the pothole there. So it also affects our transporters. This waste which somebody carelessly, I don't use the word innocently, carelessly dumps on the road. And so on and so forth. Like I said, I'm not but somebody talks to I see myself more as a mechanic, somebody who's there to solve problems on the grace of God. So let the action talk or speak for me, not for me to talk to me. Okay, Mr. Roland.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alex. It's been a wonderful journey, I'm sure, so far for the past 3 years. And by God's grace, it's getting better. Okay, dear participants, we'll be moving on from the charge by the founder of Environmental Lagos Platform. I saw a question coming. People are already asking about how they can be in touch with RecyclePoints, how they can be in touch with African Cleanup Initiative, how they can be in touch with these organizations in the chat column and in that specific question and answer column. So we'll look into it, but they are accessible. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get wild. I say get wild in the sense that whenever I think of what action, take all the meritorious JB, they call it retirement, but I called it poaching. It was one of the highest level of poaching where Mr. Governor said, I need these ladies to be in cabinet. And then Aramide Adeyoye was a footballer. She would have been around gigs at Paul schools, played for just one club all their lifetime. But at the end of the day, someone who has been with Julius Berger almost all our professional life, not even almost all our professional career, ended up being with Lagos State government and ended up being in a strategic position. I'm going to read our profile out and then you see why Governor of Lagos State works on infrastructure. She's quite versatile and she's coming loaded with proven contracting, procurement, practical construction, and project management expertise for over 30 years. Now, with Julius Berger, who was involved in many notable projects. Some of these projects are Third Mainland Bridge, Lekki Ikoyi Bridge. So many musical videos are shot on that bridge. We need to be saying thank you to Engineer Aramide anytime we see that beautiful bridge, Lekki Ikoyi Bridge. Apapa Central Business District, in Apapa, she was part of that. She was also part of numerous pedestrian bridges around Lagos and so many other private, involvement. If you're a female engineer in the house, you need to say thank you to Engineer Aramide. Then you need to give yourself high five. Give yourself high five. That this is how we do it. You give yourself this kind of high five. You raise your hand up and say, if I'm a female engineer, this high five. Reason you're giving yourself that high five is you're commending yourself and then you are appreciating people. Whenever we do this thing, that's what we tell people. You're appreciating people for applauding you, and then you're promising them you will do more. All these three, one way or the other, Engineer Aramide made them possible, and we thank God we have someone like this. She encouraged a chain mantra at Julius Berger, which made them seeing such a brilliant engineer that decided to start employing more female engineers. And at her retirement in 2019, started joining the Lagos Executive Council. She was a project coordinator and a member of the management staff at Julius Berger. That is not an easy feat for a female engineer. She's also an alumnus of Lagos Business School. She's a current certified engineer. She holds membership in the Nigerian Society of Engineers, MNSE, Nigerian Institute of Civil Engineers, NICE, APWEN, that is the Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria, CIR, that's the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators of Nigeria, IMC, Institute of Management Consultant. And then when I saw this one, I looked at it and I said, no wonder. Oh God, that's what we call Mr. Governor. No wonder our guy is always pushing Engineer Aramide out to settle some matters. Engineer Aramide is a World Bank certified arbitrator. She knows how to calm things down. she knows how to tell the policymakers we need to do this, and she knows how to tell we, the policy expectants, that hold on, this will get done. And like today, we said 3 p.m. Engineer Aramide, Mr. Fola, Tinubu, both of them were here before 3 p.m. That shows you the ethics of this personality. Engineer Aramide has been known to reply or respond to calls at 6:30 a.m. Very rare for a public official. 6:30 a.m. She has even responded to messages as, I don't know if I should say as late or as early as 3 a.m. And that's the kind of person we have. And once again, I look at this and I say, oh no wonder she was a youth prodigy. And she's still very brilliant. In case you don't know, in the year 1982, Engineer Aramide emerged as the best overall female candidate in the UME examination, that's matriculation examination put together by JAMB in 1982 with a score of 321. I look at that and I say 321 in 1982. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome Engineer Aramide Adeyoye. Are you with us, ma?
Yes, I am with you. Thank you, Mr. Roland.
You're welcome, ma. I know how busy these schedules are getting. Even your Saturdays and Sundays, you hardly rest. But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for supporting Environmental Lagos platform. Thank you for all those wonderful contributions. Mr. Akhigbe spoke before you, ma, and she spoke from the people's angle. But I can tell you, just like I built it up, that the refuse issue of Lagos, it goes beyond refuse because it leads to so many things, and that's why we said the effects on the roads and the transport infrastructure in Lagos. I mentioned all those things. Now we have a situation where I'm building from Mr. Akhigbe. He spoke about advocacy, he spoke about policy. We arrived at some things together. And he's talking from the point of view as an individual that is ready to work. He's talking from the point of an individual who's a change maker, a change agent, who propels others, you know, going by what he did with the United States Consulate Office in Lagos. But the support from the government angle, I will want you to touch on that in your presentation. I will also want you to touch on the effects of these roads in the delivery of the so much touted dividends of democracy. I'll give you an example. If there are bad roads and there's a fire incident, it will affect the fire truck getting in good time to that point. Lives could be lost. Bad roads. We have security challenge. Someone sends out an SOS. Armed robbers in my neighborhood, bad roads before the police can get there. So when you're speaking, ma, we want to start looking at angle. Are there challenges the government is also facing in delivering these services? Do they want to deliver these services? And are these bad roads causing issue? What are the reasons for these bad roads? Is it a case of poor construction? Is it a case of effluent, chemicals running on the road, just as Mr. Akhigbe said? Or are there other things involved, you know, other form of road abuse? I've seen people that break up road dividers, road again, in order to have a shortcut and all those kind of things. We've had people who just decide to say, we're laying cables, they might not even have the right permits, and they just cut the road, and it's not properly patched up back, and we have all this. So, ma, the floor is yours. Minutes, ma. We hope that is enough.
Thank you, Mr. Roland. Thank you. Good afternoon, all fellow discussants. I feel very highly honored to be here on this platform. I see it as an avenue where we can share, collaborate ideas for the benefit of the citizenry and for all. You read a beautiful citation, and I'm wondering, are you sure you're reading? I don't know whose own you're reading. It looks different from the person that has it, but anyway, let's roll on.
We have a way of finding our page.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Zimo, please shoot on, and then you can share the slides. So I'll start with the presentation. Go ahead. Mr. Zimo, please share. Go ahead.
hold on, ma. Please, a minute. Let me confirm that. Mr. Zemo, are you ready with the essays presentation? So she can flow with those slides. Okay, just hold on a bit, ma. I think we're almost there. Dear participants, sorry for that delay. All right.
Okay, so the PowerPoint first. The PowerPoint first, and then. From what I see, if you can share the first number 1, number 2, 3, 4, and then the presentation, the PowerPoint, and then the Word document in that order, just as you have it on the screen.
Okay, did you get that, please, Zemo? The pictures first, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pictures of those refuse, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let them come up first. Then we go into the road abuse presentation 1, the PowerPoints. Dear participants, just hold on a bit. We'll get it sorted. Thank you once again for being with us. Kindly bear with us. I think it's been settled and we should be up now. Okay. Essay, please. Are you still with us, ma? Essay? All right, ma, we're on, ma. Yes, the screens are on. Essay, if you're with us.
No.
Essay?
Yes, I am with you.
All right, ma, we're on. Sorry about that dilemma.
Okay. So this is Mao 2 a week ago. The next picture. The next one.
The next refuge, all right, Uzuma. Essay, you have the next one.
Yes, please, I am. I'm on.
Yes.
I'm on.
Yes, you're taken into the next picture.
Yes, that's the first, the next picture. That's why I asked Mr. Zino to share. So.
Yes, it's doing that. We're seeing everything.
Okay. So, do you recognize these pictures?
I'm not so sure we know where this is, ma.
This is Lagos Badagry Expressway.
Okay, ma.
Next picture. This is still Lagos Badagry Expressway.
Okay, ma.
And then here is still Lagos Badagry Expressway.
Okay, ma.
You recognize the trailer. This is Ladipo. This was a road that was commissioned on the 29th of May this year. Very close to Ladipo. It's Akhigbe Street. Very close to Ladipo. The road is in rigid pavement. It's in concrete. It's not asphalt. It's only survived this much because it's in rigid pavement. If it was asphalt, it would have been a disaster in less than 6 months. I speak to all of this because I'm going to go to the issue of dividends of democracy. Like I said, Lagos is home to over 20 million residents. We generate much refuse every day. The Lagos Waste Management Authority, LOMA, is also responsible for managing waste generated within the city. Also involved in waste management are the Ministry of Environment as a policy regulator and the local government by virtue of its constitutional role. Private sector participants, operators have been brought in to collect, transport, and dispose of waste, and an informal labor force collects any residual waste on roads and highways within the state to mitigate the refuse on the roads and other transport infrastructure. The failing road infrastructure, which affects rich and poor alike, has gained most attention. Heavy rains routinely occur outside the normal rainy period, a phenomenon blamed by many on climate change. Flooding has turned potholes to mud and added to the traffic chaos. Things have become so bad that most drainage systems are blocked with refuse, leachates from unattended waste materials. They find its way to the subbase of the road profile, affecting the formation layers, which is also failure of roads. The infrastructure is more dilapidated now than before, and that is putting more of a strain on commuters' life and work. Rains have been very extensive, and when it's flooded, that puts further strain on the road network. So the question is this: is the refuse the only cause of failure? I say no. When you have road infrastructure, networks of road, depending on who you listen to, or depending on which statistics you're working with, the overall budget size of Nigeria is about $20 billion. In the next 10 years, the World Bank will need about $80 billion to keep up to the level of infrastructure upgrade that we require. which means there's infrastructure deficit and it needs to be funded and financed. Little wonder then that you often wonder why the amount of money that we put on maintenance of our roads is minimal and why we cannot cover much. If you look at the budgetary size this year, on road maintenance, you have less than 0.2%. But at that, we'll still maintain, we'll try to do what we can do best. But in all of this, what I tell people is a road is as good as its drain. When the roads are abused in so many forms, roads will fail. And why do we say roads will fail? Road failures occur in several forms. It could also be because of design or construction issues. One of the charts, somebody asked a question to say, these roads they are designed to last 25 years. But where we have abused them, these roads will barely last us up to 5 years. That presupposes that even when you have done and designed the road in a manner that conforms to the specs. But oftentimes, you could have quality assurance issues. It could be during construction, it could be in the geometry of the design of the road. Those are other factors, but predominantly what we have found out over time in Lagos area is that these failures on the pavement, they come as a result of abuse. Abuse from burning of tires, from cutting of the pavements, from people in trying to lay docks, from markets, areas around the markets. You see people believing erroneously that once you just take your refuse and you put it in a sack, a backhoe sack, you tie them out and you drop it in the drain, the next thing that comes to just help you to take it to the outfall. You also have the articulated trucks, the abuse from articulated trucks, also a form of abuse. When you design a road to take a maximum loading, 8B loadings, not exceeding 30 kilonewton, 30 ton, and you decide that you are going to load them with in excess of 45 tons, you find particularly the fuel laden tankers carrying PMS or petrol trucks, some of them with double axle tanks, as much as 60 tons, all on the road. All of this will lead ultimately to abuse. And one of the things that we have said is this: we cannot continue to do like this. When people also take on the drain outfalls and decide to put on those outfalls, pathways to run off. Drains are designed to be able to take runoff from the roads. And so I will start this paper. So that was an intro. I'm just going to go straight now to the real presentation proper. I just gave you an intro as to what exactly I was going to talk about. So I've tried to tell you, yes, if you abuse your road, in how many forms or ways you can abuse your road. So this paper points out the fact that road abuse comes from habits. Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
So road abuse comes from the habits. This paper points out the abuse that we subject our roads to. The wrongful dumping of waste on road infrastructure and other forms of transportation, waterways, rail lines in Lagos State. The legal framework in place to tackle this menace and the modern and sustainable approach to road management as a whole. Millions of less well-off Lagosians, particularly those on the mainland, they live in the city at the permanent breaking point. The roads, the roads, infrastructure, public transport, and waste collection are severely strained. Many live in informal settlements or outright slums, where it's strange to find people decide that they will just even pipe their waste, solid waste from their house. Those are not meant to be. The result that the drainage pathway that is just supposed to carry runoff of the road ends up having leaches that would not allow the water to flow in the drain. As a result of this, refuse are dumped on the main carriageway, medians, the drainage system, along the waterways and canals. All these actions have a great effect on the road and other transport infrastructures in Lagos State. The failing road infrastructure, which affects the rich and the poor alike, has gained most attention. Heavy rains routinely occur outside the normal rainy period, a phenomenon blamed by many on climate change. Flooding has turned the potholed roads to mud and added to traffic chaos. And so one of the things that I tell people is this: it looks like it's the way we have laid our bed that we're lying on it now, and we get to lie on it more in the rainy season. We see it happen literally. And everybody says, why is it that we're going back again and again doing this? Things have become so bad that most drainage systems are blocked with refuse. The leachate from unattended waste materials find its way to the subbase of the road, affecting the formation layers. The infrastructure is more delicate now than before, and it's putting more of the strain on commuters. Government's efforts to mitigate the abuse on road, the solid waste management. I won't talk about Loma now, but I would like to go straight to the point and to say all of these roads that were built, and I can give you examples. So I'm going to be talking practically now. The Lagos-Badagry Expressway is something that has been in the focus in the last 2 weeks. The Guardian, there have been editorial reports, mid-page, everybody, it's the main focus that everybody's talking about now. And I ask, how did we find ourselves? How did we get to this stage? That road was a road that was built 10 years ago. The first 7 years, it was good. It's the last 3 years has seen the road deteriorate. And why did it deteriorate? It's simply because we failed to do the routine, the preventive maintenance, and the general cleaning of the roads, of the drains that we're supposed to do. The picture that you saw, the first picture that you saw was a picture of the drains, the tons and tons of plastics that were removed from the drain. You had an outfall that was 56 meters long. What they packed there, it took 4 days of packing out of the plastics. Adewole is also a road that is in a bad state now. Bad because the road is free, the drains are filled to the brim, and then that road has also completely filled. You will recall that Adewole was rehabilitated 15 years ago in 2005, so 15 years ago. And it started for 12 years, that road was good. The failure that you saw occurred in the last 3 years. Adeyoye Road is also another terrible road. Even though it's a federal road, most Lagosians don't know the difference between a federal road and a state road. As far as we are all concerned, the road is supposed to be motorable and it should serve us, whether it's federal or it's state. Adeyoye Road has been repaired several times. It's been repaired, at one point in time was repaired by a contractor, Moreno, some point in time by NW, some point in time also by Julius Better twice. And so the question we need to ask ourselves is, why does this road keep on failing? And I'll simply say what the answer is. It's the habits. You have the markets around the Adeyoye Road. You have the Kobiti Canal around there. The food market, the plantain food market is in Adeyoye Road. And you find the people around the market, the stumps from the plantain stumps, they throw it directly into the outfall. The outfalls, the drains are blocked, and of course the outfalls are blocked. And once you don't have anywhere you are flowing to, the natural thing is for it to come on the roadway. Once you have that water stagnating for over a week or a month, it deteriorates your asphalt, leading to a decay in the riding surface, a deterioration of the riding surface. And in no time, you will have potholes. The leachates will form. A lot of people around Mushi, Adeyoye also, they throw their solid waste into the drain. So it's little or no surprise that you find those roads failing. What am I saying? Ikorodu Road also, if you look at Ikorodu Road, and I'll talk about Ikorodu Road and Mile 12. Mile 12 markets also, right now the state government is doing a construction around Mile 12. We are beginning to now design in such a way now that it accommodates the bad, terrible habits that we have. It's more expensive, but that appears to be the only respite that we can give ourselves now. So we've decided as a government to turn those roads into rigid pavement. These pavements are not one-stop solution for all. But what it does is that when we fail to do the regular cleaning and desilting that we're supposed to do with our drains, we at least have a respite for the roads to last us longer. So, all said and done. I've said, number one, that the cost of our infrastructure deteriorating is coming from insufficient budgets that you have for maintenance. And that's because even as a nation, the deficit in funding is there. I've given the statistics from World Bank, what we need to be able to come out of our infrastructure need. And that's why we need the private sector initiative participation for us to bridge that gap. The design issues and construction issues that comes from not doing proper design that affects construction, I think I've also pointed that out. I've seen a lot of new bus stops being constructed that when people construct those bus stops, they don't take cognizance of the way the drains would flow. The runoff from the road will flow. And so you find some ponding on the roadway. And in no little time, you find some deterioration taking place there. I've also talked about the way people cut across road pavement, all in the guise of provision of internet services and laying ducts. You've seen burning of tires when people during the lockdown. You've seen people, vigilante groups, and in the need to be able to keep people up, they decide to burn tires on the roadway, on asphaltic road surfaces. And of course, it's just a matter of time because you subject it now to intensive heat, cooling and heat, and at the end of the day, you find shrinkage on the surface, and the time that pavement is also going to fail. So all said and done, we all know what are the reasons why these roads are failing. And it's coming majorly from our habits, attitudinal change. People deliberately build on outfalls. They build, they get approvals and build on outfalls. And then when the flood comes, people begin to say, oh, there is flood everywhere. What I ask people is, this flood are the consequences of our actions. When you don't treat nature well, nature has a way of coming back to you, and in no time, we'll all have our regrets. So what are we then doing as a government? What I would say is this: ownership of these assets are important. Advocacy, that we must all know that these assets are shared assets, they are ours, and we must take possession of them. And that means that when you see somebody that has put around marketplaces, that the walkways that are designed for people to be able to walk, when people decide that's where they're going to sell, when people decide that's where they're going to have to make food and sell, when people decide that styrofoams and the things that they sell from food markets and food restaurants, and they will deposit directly into the drain without disposing of properly. Those are all of the things that cause the abuse and deterioration of the infrastructure. And one of the things that I've said is, in the present, what can we do? Number one is the ownership of the assets, advocacy and awareness, and in particular enforcement, right from local government levels. I think it's time that we bring on board back the usual Saturday sanitation exercise. Make it also, at the extant laws are there, the provisions are there for the mental laws. We just need to invoke all of the parts of those laws. And right even in front of your houses, if your drains are not cleaned, you are liable to pay a fine. People must learn to know that this blocked outfalls are beginning to affect each and every one of us. We must, in particular, we must embrace recycling. When I hear that a lot of people say that a lot of employed youths, recycling is a business that people can take, they can have a niche, they can also participate. And one of the things that we're thinking is collaboration with all of the producers of those plastic PET bottles, manufacturers, the Coca-Colas of these malls and the Nestle's, to say, can we not, as a state, can we not get people in the morning when they wake up, all they do is go looking for those plastics, regularly pick them, and go to the various depots, drop them, and in turn, you are guaranteed revenues based on what you collect. That's an incentive for people to ensure that they dispose of these plastic PET bottles in a same manner. All in all now, one of the things that we also have taught, and that's apart from doing all of this, to say we recycle the waste, that's also people. There's a program now for the asphalt, modified asphalt, that people can pick tires. They can pick tires, and then there's a company that is partnering with the Public Works Corporation right now that will pick tires and then be able to do them in powder form and do it as a modified asphalt. That is, we're doing that so that we can also reduce the threat of the used tires on the roadway and also into the drains. Part of also the abuse that I always say also is the manholes. When people deliberately remove manholes, believing that once you remove the manhole, it becomes an opening where you can throw the bin. I've seen, even on Lagos-Badagry Expressway, I've seen a kilometer of road covered, and all of a sudden you just see 1 or 2 cover slabs removed. And what's the reason why somebody will go do that? Is because they want to begin to use that as a dumping ground. And once they see that, oh, this is flowing the first time, the second time, it becomes a permanent dumping ground. Next thing that we have to do as a state, we have to ban all of the scavengers. The people who scavenge, who carry the trucks, who do not have where they dispose of. We have to be able to promulgate laws that will ban those scavengers from operating. We have to be able to ensure that people in front of their houses, they are responsible for all of the cleanliness of their properties, and invoke all of the sanitation laws in its entirety. Until we do all of those ones, encourage recycling as a hobby for people and also to empower people, really will not be able to take advantage of we're not really going anywhere. By doing all of this, I'm sure we will be able to reduce all of this abuse. But on the future, in making new roads, one of the things to be able to accommodate this abuse is that we have decided that the use of rigid pavement will become things that we'll do regularly now. And if you notice, most of the roads that are coming on the pond in this dispensation under the Team's Agenda program, roads like Obashekumade is now in rigid pavement. That was a road in asphalt. Because of the excess of the abuse of the articulated trucks that are coming, there are a lot of people that are coming from the dredge sites, articulated trucks carrying sand, heavy tonners, people going down to the jetty by the end of Obashekumade. we decided we would have them rigid pavement. We have turned now a section of mile 12 into a rigid pavement. They also irradiate along Ojo, just prior to Lagos Badagry Expressway. It's also a road in rigid pavement. So it's more expensive, but life cycle costing it will be cheaper. But we are doing all of that one because of the habits, the peculiarity of the habits that we have found. The other thing also to note is that a lot of logistics companies that are along that back of Lagos Badagry Expressway do not have holding bays. And so as a state, we are beginning to say, if you must operate a logistic business, you must have a holding bay where you have parking areas where your trailers can park and not on the roadway. Because oftentimes when those articulated trucks, they park on the bridge, they abuse the road, the drivers there end up sleeping there. Some of them even they sleep, they eat, you see their nets when they park. We see all of this happen on the roadway. So what are we saying? We need to be able to take ownership of this asset. We need to be able to be responsible, environmentally conscious of the habits that we do, the abuse that we're doing on the roadway. The KQC, we're more stringent now, even for semi-rigid pavements. The design specs we have changed from the 30 MPa to the 45 MPa. So the semi-rigid pavements now are more stronger. You are also, that's when you decide to use a semi-rigid pavement. Otherwise, if you are going on a full rigid pavement, depending on the kind of loadings that you're expecting, that is also now more of an habit. The KQC levels for supervision as a ministry have also been upped. Likewise, also the capacity development. We're doing all of this so that we're sure that these roads are done to the best standards and under stringent conditions and guidelines. We are beginning to rate contractors based on their attention to details, how they get their levels at getting these whipples and blockouts for the runoff on the roadway to actually drain, how the construction, the impact levels will run. I've seen so many roads constructed at different tiers of government where the impact levels don't even function, they don't go anywhere. We must be deliberate in the way we take our actions. People who build on our force need to know that it's a menace that they are causing for everybody, and as such acts are punishable, irrespective of whose ox is God. We should learn to do things right and take destiny into our hands. I think when we do all of these ones, we will have succeeded in creating a lot of room for this abuse to be mitigated, and these roads will certainly last us longer. On this note, I would like to stop here. While I answer some of the answers and questions, I'll just chip in there. Somebody said, why was it that they didn't work during the lockdown? COVID came up with its own issues. And you know that when it came, nobody actually understood the protocols that were going to run for it. And so a lot of these multinational companies, everybody ran away, not knowing what to expect. We decided to wait until when everybody could understand what the protocols would be like. And so when it was clear, PwC had exemptions and they were able to work within that period. In that period, most of the roads in Isolo around Latif Salami, the Dende Kalistu, coming out also up to the local government area, local government area, backed into the expressway, a couple of roads, Yaba, by the IDH side, as you approach, very close to when you get, so a lot of roads were actually done during the lockdown. So the only people that couldn't work were the multinationals who were, for reasons best, because the airspace was closed, they couldn't work. So I think that answers the question to say, why did they not work? But in all I just want to appeal, we cannot continue to live this way. We need to be able to do things differently. Yes, we know that Lagos is low-lying. Yes, we know that the water table level has risen. And that's the more reason why we need to be conscious of our environment, to say we are hurting ourselves. We need to change the attitude in the way we dispose the refuse and solid waste, because it's not helping us. It's only making things get worse, and then it gets the road destroyed in little or no time, and then we have to use resources, monies that are meant to open up new areas, new roads into other areas, other parts of Lagos. We end up coming back to do the maintenance and the rehab. But I'm sure when we all do this advocacy and people get to understand the harm or the danger that we're doing to ourselves, and we partner with all of these people that are ready to work in terms of recycling, we'll get there in no time. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Like I said, I knew a session with the SA as a participant would be loaded. And I'm not personally disappointed. SA, let me just run through some of the things I was able to write down. A road is as good as its drains. And I think there was someone, though we'll get to that in the question, who was talking about what are the maintenance plans for drains. We'll get to that later. But I just want to make sure I got some things listed. Our rapporteur, Ms. Koinsola Kuku, is also taking notes. She'll give us a summary at the end of the event. Now, we're talking about road abuse comes from habit. And then you said the designs are now being made tailored suits to those habits, meaning it's more expensive. Instead of our habits coming down to the standard, now we are saying habits of Lagosians, we just need to keep making roads to suit those habits. It's more expensive and we're having sufficient funding even before it got more expensive, yet the government is doing its best to meet up. Now we have design issues on construction, and that's area where I would also be involved, because some of this construction, where you mentioned the bus stops, these are not bus stops that individuals like me will go ahead and start constructing. Someone must have given that approval, and someone is leading with the oversight of supervision. And then we have what you said as awareness and enforcement, right from local government level, starting with change from individuals. I hope all what I've said, Ma, are correct.
Very well.
Okay. Participants, thank you very much, man. You've listened to the essay, Engineer Aramide, Adeyoye, and I'm seeing so many comments, I'm seeing so many questions. By the grace of God, we'll be able to take them, but now is not the time. We'll get to that. I'd like to take about 5 minutes break for those of us that want to get a sip of water after that wonderful presentation from the essay, and coming on the heels of the one from Mr. Alex Akhigbe, an environmentalist that spoke on policy change and advocacy. We're having an evolving pattern here. We'll get back to it. So take about 5 minutes, get some water, stretch. Then when we come back, we're going straight to the Oga. I call him Oga, who says is the #1 conductor. And I'm like, how can Mr. Fola Tinubu be a conductor? Okay, maybe it's a change in narrative. I like it. Maybe that's the new Lagos, if Mr. Fola Tinubu is the #1 conductor. Okay, I have to look for an appellation for myself. So let's take 5 minutes. We'll come back soon, take some water, chew something, and then when we'll come back in about 5 minutes, we'll start with Mr. Fola Tinubu, the MD CEO of Primero Transport Services Limited. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope we're getting back to our seats. It's getting better by the minute. Once again, it's a Zoom discussion in commemoration of the 3rd anniversary of Environmental Lagos platform. Topic, if you're just joining us, is the effects of refuse and other forms of abuse on roads and transport infrastructure in Lagos. We've had Mr. Akhigbe, who spoke, is an environmentalist. And we've had the essay on works and infrastructure in Lagos State, Engineer Aramide Adeyoye, who spoke. And now we're taking it to the next level. Fola. Fola says he's the #1 conductor in Lagos State. So I keep laughing whenever I see that description. For those that don't know, Mr. Fola Tinubu is the managing director of Primero Transport Services Limited. And he's coming armed with degrees in the UK, economics and politics. That's a solid degree, backed up with an MBA. With all this, he's a talented business manager with detailed knowledge of business planning, capital projects, and projects finance. Recipient of many awards, is a member of CILT, that's the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport Nigeria. And from the entry into the transport sector, he's been responsible personally and as a company. Primero had been a change, in the transport structure of Lagos. One way or the other, they've contributed to the development. Mr. Fola Tinubu, I'd like to say you're very welcome, sir. Please, can we unmute Mr. Fola? Unmute yourself, sir. Kindly unmute, sir.
Okay.
Yes, all right, sir.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now, sir. Yep. You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. You're back on mute. You're back on mute. You're still muted, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us, sir. It's a big honor for us, sir. Thank you very much. So, sir, I'm going to. Okay, sir. Let me just lead a bit, so we'll look at the angle together. Now you're in the transport business, and this transport business, especially yours, is supposed to come in as ameliorative to the populace. It's supposed to help Lagosians. Now, Engineer Aramide spoke about sizes, and that's where I'm coming from. We have a situation where maybe we're supposed to have 30 tonners on Lagos Road, especially being a coastal area, and compaction easily happens. And now we have 60 tonners, we have 90, we even have more, all kinds of trucks are brought in, you understand? And before you know it, they're on these roads. Now, your vehicles are not the regular buses. And I've driven SUVs, I've seen some of them, and I've seen inscriptions that say, if you're not careful, the higher the vehicle goes, you risk tipping over. So now we have a situation where we're using luxury buses, bad roads, and yet you have to deliver. I want you to look at the effects of this refuse and other road abuse, how it's costing the transport situation, especially in your own services. I remember at a point in time, maybe about a month ago or thereabout, when Primero said we're going to down tools, it just wasn't profitable to operate anymore based on COVID. Now take COVID out of it. You also have the issues of the road By the time you're looking at maintenance and every other thing, costs ramp up. You are forced as a businessman, despite all the argument, you want to make profit. And all these are part of what you're facing. Lagosians are also getting the short end of it. They keep looking at why is the transport system designed to be so cheap for us, going up? What is going on? So, sir, the floor is yours. Effects of refuse and other road abuse on transport system hasn't been affecting Primero. Let's hear your view.
Thank you very much. And the SA
Welcome, sir.
and the speaker they've laid out all the major arguments that if you keep dumping refuse on the road gets spoiled, and they have to keep on going back to fix the same road. So instead of going to interior or doing other roads, we're doing the same thing. But it affects us in lots of ways. One is this. Yes, part of the reason why Primero is struggling is because we have a projection that each bus must make 7 trips daily. But because of the road issues, we are struggling to even make 5 trips. And also delay us from picking up people on time. I get calls all the time, especially on the platform, there are people from Adeyoye all the way to Ojota or Mile 12. But a trip that's supposed to take you 45 minutes to an hour, when it takes you 3 hours to make the same trip, not only are you not picking up your commuters fast, but you are also losing money because you are burning diesel, and the wear and tear on the buses are, tremendous. Look, this issue is not a matter of rich or poor. It's an attitudinal issue. I've been to countries where they don't even have a tenth of Lagos resources, and it's clean because people dispose their refuse in a
Same manner.
Same way. Unlike here in Lagos, that we have this attitude of who's going to arrest me, and we do things indiscriminately. Every day, we run about 300 buses daily, and if you know the amount of trash that we get out of those buses daily, it's mind-boggling. And people sit in those trash, they don't care. And I'm wondering, why are you putting trash in the environment that you are going to use yourself? But then I start, when I go around and I see people eating, trading inside, trash. And then, it shows that our issue is attitudinal. Look, it's not the governor or the SA or the commissioner or the PAMSEC that throw trash in all those drains. It's you and I. They can only go, they can only do so much, and they go to clean them. We go back to dumping them. I'll give you an example. I live in Nigeria, and Lagos State cleaned one of the canals by Jakonde. I drove past it about 2 weeks later. It's back again filled up with trash. The business community needs to raise up. I'm very happy the way the business community rose up for this pandemic, and they supported the government in a big way. We need to do the same thing for our environment, because at the end of the day, this is what is going to live to our children and our grandchildren. And if we don't look after our environment, we're just doing ourselves. Look, no tourist come to Lagos if Lagos is not clean. Foreigners will not come to invest in Lagos if we don't clean it up. And if these people don't come, it's going to be tough for us to create the jobs and and grow the economy the way we want to grow. So it's all everything is tied together. And we need to start telling ourselves some hard facts. It's not a matter of whether I'm rich or poor. I've been to poor people's houses that their environment is clean, sparkling clean. And I've been to supposedly very, very rich people's houses, and I wouldn't even allow my dogs to go into the, to stay in those houses. So it's not a matter of rich or poor. It's a matter of attitudes. We all have to stand in the mirror and stand at each other, because the platform, I see people taking pictures of canals, taking pictures of this and complaining that the government did not do this, the government did not do that. And I just laugh to myself, if the government fixes it and people go back and do the same thing, so what can the government do? Or you want the governor or the SA to go and stand in front of each canal with cane and start? The business community needs to rise up and support the government on this issue and start educating our staff. And even, look, we are even working something at Primero that we're going to take a day and get all our staff out to go to Ikorodu and start cleaning up. And I'm going to join them. We need to start doing that. So maybe if people see us start doing that, they will start understanding. Yes, the government can do better with Loma, with all of that, but we have to start first. And the problem in this country is everything we look is government, 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 government. I'm not saying the government does not have to play, but each one of us, including me, needs to look in the mirror and start finding ways to dispose our waste well. Because you are poor does not mean you should do the right thing. And because you're rich does not mean you should not do the right thing also. All of us must. And we need to go back to our schools, start educating those kids from kindergarten to nursery school to primary school, to let them know the importance of having a clean environment. I remember when I was at school, in the early 70s and late 60s and early 70s, they were teaching us that you must keep your environment clean, and they make us go around, we go around the school to pick up trash, to pick up everything. We need to go back to that, so that these kids that we are raising now, we imbibe them with that attitude from kindergarten, so that by the time they grow up, it will be tough for them to even throw stuff on the road. You see people in our buses, they buy Ghana, they buy minerals, they buy things, and they just finish them, just straight on the road, waiting for the SA or the Commissioner for Environment to come and clean up after them. They keep forgetting that they are doing themselves, because at the end of the day, it's you and I that uses the road. The governor does not. How often does the governor go to Ikorodu? It's only if he has functions to do there. But if Ikorodu road gets messed up, it's you and I that suffers. Look at that Mark 12 that the essay mentioned. The amount of trash that comes out of that market that they put on there every day, and they spill onto the road, and they block the drains. If the drain is blocked, the water does not have anywhere to go but the roads. And then the potholes come, and then the traffic starts. And sometimes it goes from mile 12 all the way to Ikorodu in the morning. Anybody that uses that road will tell you this. It takes you, a journey that's supposed to take you maybe 10, 15 minutes, sometimes takes you about 3 hours. But whose fault is that? It's you and I. If we dispose our waste properly, it will not happen. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the government does not have a role to play in this. Yes, they have their own part, but you and I have to play our own part also. And the business community have to play their own part also. It must be a collective effort. It must be a zero tolerance for trash on the roads. I know some people were going to sue the Lagos State government when they were doing the environmental sanitation before, because they claim that it's against their it infringes on their fundamental human rights. The government cannot ask them, not to move about. That's fine, and I respect that. But we need to find a way to get people to start cleaning up their environments. And I remember when we were young, there used to be something called Wole Wole. And I don't know how many people remember those Wole Wole. I think in the English was health sanitation people. And when they're coming, everybody, you see the way the women starts running to clean the house, because they will be fined, and we need to go to something like that, because it starts from the home. If you see your parents cleaning cleaning the environment, you will join them to clean, and you will not mess it up. We need to bring something like the Wole Wole of the old back again, because if our people, I don't know why we do not do the right thing until somebody is caning us or somebody is forcing us to do it. But it needs to be done. The other issue that I have is the covers that the government puts on all this manhole. The essay says that they take them off. It's not just because they want to put trash on there. Some of them take them off because they want to use the metals. In fact, that's the biggest problem. And by taking them off because they want to use the metal, they create opportunities for people to dump trash in them. So the question, like Yoruba said, our land share most of the time. And we need to start, looking inwards and start saying, we need to change. And the change must come from myself and from everybody. It's not government. We can shout government. A government is a reflection of the people. If the people are neat, the government will be neat. If the people are dirty, the government will be dirty, because the government did not fall from the sky. It's you and I. The essay is there today. She will not be there. She will not be there 5, 10 years from now. Another person, will be there. And somebody was there before her. So she can only do so much, but you and I can do a lot. And if we imbibe that attitudinal change, and we start now, it will make a big, big difference for everybody. So that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when the essay is no longer there, it doesn't matter who is there, their job is a lot easier. Okay. They are chasing after us right now to clean up after us. They don't have to do that. Let them concentrate on how to bring development to us, not coming after us that you must clean your gutter. That should be our own job. Let them concentrate on how do we develop Lagos, how do we bring Neros, how do we bring rails, how do take big things. We have to do the little things. If they are spending their time to do the little things, then they will, what time will they have and what resources will they have to do the big things that we all want? Some people will not like what I'm saying. Some people will say, oh, I'm not siding government here. I'm just saying you and I must change if we want change at all in Lagos. And lastly, I said it earlier, the business community needs to rise up. We need to work with the schools. And I'm saying it right now, Primero is going to be volunteering with schools in all over Ikorodu. We're going to send some of our staff there to go and work, to go and talk to them, to go and work with them, and we'll pick a day. We'll invite anybody that wants to join us. We'll go all over Ikorodu, pick up the trash. We'll work with Loma to pick up or whatever we are going to do. But one organization cannot do it. Because if we do it, and those guys come the following morning and they start putting things there again, it's going to discourage it's going to discourage the people when I ask them to come out again. So we all have to work together. It's our responsibilities, because at the end of the day, God forbid, look at this pandemic now. It's affecting all of us. If we don't clean up our environment and a germ or a virus or something like that comes, it's going to affect all of us. And we don't have anywhere to go. Look at what is happening to us right now. None of us, whether you have money or you don't have money, we can't go anywhere. We're all stuck here. So we need to develop our own environment so that, God forbid, anything happens, we can look after ourselves and we can look after our children. Thank you very much.
Mr. Fola, thank you very much, sir. Spoken like a true professional. I'm very happy about this, sir. I'll just do a brief of what I picked up while you were speaking. Now, some of the effects Primero has been suffering, I can see how it's cascaded down to affecting the people. 7 trips daily getting shortened to 5. We have a delay in pickups from 45 minutes, ramping up to as high as 180 minutes, solid 3 hours. Then we have the wear and tear in the vehicle, which at a point was what you spoke about, with the wear and tear on these vehicles, and then being asked to maintain social distancing in vehicles and all was not just profitable. And you talk about the attitudinal issues. Now, in all this, a pattern is evolving from what you said, from what the essay said, and from what Mr. Alex said. We're seeing the rules of the people, we're seeing that of the government, and most importantly, you focused emphatically on the role of the private sector, the corporate bodies. You focus on that. You're making us look at a situation where if you are the manufacturers of Gala, if you are the makers of Fan Ice, there needs to be a CSR policy that allows you to be concerned about the end result of your packaging materials.
Correct.
It is not just enough for you to say, take, you've paid me, you've gotten value, something has gone into your stomach. There needs to be a concern about how do you dump this. It shouldn't just be an insignia on the bottle where you say dump responsibly, but you yourself, you are not responsible for the onboarding of this dumping. So I got that from you. And I saw you taking charge, leading out and saying, Primero is ready to go ahead and spearhead these efforts by the private sector. And one way or the other, what I can assure you on, thank God Mr. Alex Omorodion is here, the founder of the platform, Environmental Lagos platform. Environmental Lagos platform would definitely partner with you on this. We'll be speaking with you. And as much as possible, we will see the number of people we can also bring on board as volunteers when it's time for this. And then you spoke about education. One way or the other, this is key. Some of the etiquette, some of the ethics that is guiding some of us is what we picked up when we were younger. So you want us to go back to the primary school, maybe those days when they ask us to stretch for all our hands, check our nails if they are clean, maybe check our teeth if they are well brushed and all that. Yes. So I was part of that. So I know. So maybe we need to go back to that. Once again, Mr. Fola, the #1 conductor, the one changing the face of.
Don't forget the Woli.
Yes. No, I cannot forget Woli Woli. I was part of the Woli Woli, so I know about it. The #1 conductor, I'd like to say a big thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gradually getting to the end of a wonderful day. It's been so great. And we shouldn't forget the charges, especially on we, the citizens. One thing I do is, as much as possible, I do as I say. So by the time I'm asking others, I tell you, okay, you can do as I do also because I'm practicing it. For some people that are saying me, I don't normally keep a beard. I'm not a beard gang member. But because they asked us not to visit barbershops, I've kept a 4-month beard. The last time I went to a barbershop was in March. I've kept a 4-month beard in obedience to the government. I could have been like any other person and walk into a barber shop and say, let's cut it off and all that. You know, my children, my wife were like, oh, this is a new look, what's going on? And it kept getting more and more. in the course of last week, I spoke with officials of the Lagos State Safety Commission, and they told me that due to the Register to Open initiative, where if you are sure you are a business and you are ready to go back to business, all you need to do free is go through some processes, and then at the end of the day, they check your business environment if it's certified, and then you go back to business. This will be helping the MSMEs. So by God's grace, maybe the next time you see me, the beard will be gone. I can now visit a barber shop and look for a certified one and do. What I'm saying is, as citizens, it's key that we obey. You know, we have so many things flying around there, but we cannot be law unto ourselves. We cannot be government unto ourselves. And the only way we can do it is we need to engage the government more. Thank God for what Mr. Akhigbe said. There needs to be advocacy. Thank God for people like Engineer Aramide, Adeyoye, who wants to be spoken to. They want to be spoken with. They want you to ask them what is going on. They give you feedback. Thank you for people like thank God for people like Mr. Fola, Tinubu, who at any time will tell you. Sometimes I wonder if it's by magic. They just tell him and say, "Oh God, no buses from so and so," and he will say, "Okay, we're sending buses to them now in about 10 minutes. We're sending buses to them," and before you know it, the message will come back, feedback will come back that yes, buses are here now in the 10 minutes. So I wonder how he does it to come and tell us management practices. Okay, so now we're going to the last but not the least speaker. I hope Mr. Taiwo Adewole is still with us. Is Mr. Taiwo still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, sir, Mr. Taiwo. This is a great one. And just like I said, you might be coming on last, but it's all built up into something. How did you feel when you met Barack Obama in 2010, sir?
It was a great experience.
A privilege, just out one of the 115 Africans that were chosen to meet Barack Obama. That's a great one. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Taiwo Adewole is the CEO of Taiwo Adewole and Associates, an environmental consulting outfit. He's also the executive director of RecyclePoints, also the executive director of Waste Aid Nigeria, and also the executive director of Sustainable Waste Recycling Community of Nigeria, and he holds other positions in other top organizations. He has won many awards, and just like I said, he was one of the 115 young African leaders that met with the US President then, Barack Obama, at the White House in 2010. He's a core environmental consultant who has presented many papers. His efforts are taking him to different places, works in Rivers State, works in other parts of the country, and even outside the country. And he holds affiliation with many international bodies. And so far, he has established himself in this field of environmental consultation. So, Mr. Taiwo, you've listened, effects. Some of our speakers have spoke about the causes, how these wastes generate. There are a lot of ongoing things in the charts. I'm happy the participants are saying things, and I'm happy the panelists are saying some of them. So by the time we get to the question and answer time, it will be a lot easier because they've seen those questions already. So you can keep them up. So back to you, Mr. Taiwo.
Yes, sir.
You've listened to the people, effects, causes, and we've had it from Mr. Akhigbe.
Yes.
Who was speaking from the advocacy angle. He said they are not the basic recycling people, but thank God that you are involved in that basic recycling angle. And now I'm going to lead you on from the point I raised with him. Why you might be in business recycling wastes? Is it really some arms down? You know, should it go down to a reduced level? And you can easily say, okay, I have so many other things that are helping me, but the Gaussians need to reduce the level of this waste, and these are the effects. So, sir, over to you. We're consulting you now. What do we need to do about these environmental issues on the abuse, Lagos Road and the transport sector?
Thank you very much. Like we know, in Lagos State, we generate over 10,000 tons of waste every single day. 10,000 tons of waste every day. And where do these waste end up? Most of them end up in the drainage, in the gutter, and some in the dump site. And you keep on wondering, are these really waste? But to me, as an expert, people call it waste. I don't call it waste, I call it resources. In fact, most of my presentation, I term it wastenomics, turning waste liability into assets. These wastes are not really waste, but they are assets. For instance, if you look at the plastic bottle in Nigeria today, we generate 150,000 tons of plastics based on figures and statistics from the producer. 150,000 tons of bottles every year. Where did they end up? They end up in the drainage, they end up in our ocean. And this plastic, they don't decay. They remain there for the next 500 years. They only break down, but they don't decay. So if I got to a stage that, oh, we are going to ban plastic, if you go to a country like Kenya, another country, you see them banning plastic. But coming back to Nigeria, last 8 years, what RecyclePoints has been is that we noticed that what will people do? Because people in Nigeria, if you don't put money or if you don't entice them, they won't do so. That's where the name came from, points, RecyclePoints. Okay, let's start putting points. Let's start giving people this. Okay, we're able to bring maybe 50 bottles. This is what you get back in return. If you're able to bring 100 bottles, you'll be able to get a recharge card. If you're able to bring maybe 500 bottles, you'll be able to get a ticket for even for a bus ride. So we came up with this initiative to make sure, okay, people should start thinking, oh, this is not really waste. This is an asset. And we started. Today now in Lagos, we have over 10,000 subscribers on our network that register with us. That, oh, they bring their plastic bottles, they bring their water sachet, they bring their aluminum can, and all sorts of recyclables. And apart from the 10,000 subscribers, we also have what we call the waste pickers. The waste pickers are more or less like those scavengers you see, the abokis. So what we did was, they are the informal sector, but we have to bring them and try one way or the other to regularize them, because the informal sectors are not really recognized by government. But if you look at what happened in Lagos some years ago, when a company called Visionscape came, they made the situation worse. And some of these informal sectors are even the one that help. They go from house to house, door to pick waste. And on my own personally, I was able to carry out a research on this role of the informal sector. Those informal sector, they control the recycling industry today. 80% of recycling in Nigeria today is done by the informal sector. And I keep on giving a very good example. I was able to speak with 2 or 3 of them. I call a mala. These waste are collecting. How much did you pay? If I go to any household to pick their waste, they give me 200 naira, they give me 100 naira. Then where he is taking the waste through, they are what they call the aggregation center, where they now sit down and separate these waste they collect from you. They separate the nylon, they separate the aluminum, and you have people that pay them in advance. I was talking to a particular scavenger. He told me somebody gave him 6 million naira to start looking for aluminum can for the next 6 months. This is a scavenger. So you can imagine, after collecting 200 naira from every household, somebody still give him 6 million naira to look for aluminum can for him. And that person come, oh, I need plastic bottle, I need 10 tons, take this 100,000. And that person come, oh, I need water nylon, take this 200,000. So you can imagine, these are the sector that I was expecting the government to look at. And these people, they don't pay tax, they don't pay rent. They just come with the cart to your house, carry your waste, they go away. And where they are even operating is legal, because at the end of it, after picking the valuables, they leave the rest on the road. So that's why if you drive along Badagry Expressway now, you have about 200 of them. You see them, but they're making their money. Why is the government not looking into them? Now, coming to the formal sector, when we noticed this was going on, I remember 2008, I was in Abuja, Senate Committee on Environment. They are looking at various things to look at, and that's where I came up with what is called EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility. And I told them, if you go to the US, if you go to Europe, they have what they call EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility, whereby every producer must take responsibility. Do I just produce my Coke, you drink and throw away the bottle? No. What is the responsibility of the producer? So then, 2018, the government was able to come up with a policy paper called EPR, which was being backed by NESRA to make sure every single producer in Nigeria must take responsibility. So they came up with a policy paper whereby every company, food and beverages industry, electrical, electronics, any industry you are to, you must submit your plan. Once people consume your products, what happened to the end product? And this gave birth to an association called Food and Beverages Recycling Alliance in Nigeria. Now, this Food and Beverages Recycling Alliance, they're made up of Coca-Cola, Nigerian breweries, Guinness, and so on. But the funniest thing is that this FBRA, they are just 10 companies. But are you telling me we have just 10 food and beverages companies in Nigeria? No. But it was only just 10 of them that decided to take responsibility that, okay, anything that has to do with collection. So this FBRA that be supporting organizations like ACI, and RecyclePoints, and so on. So what they do is on a monthly basis, we tell them like what Mr. Tinubu said, oh, we want to do a cleanup in Ikorodu. This Food and Beverages Alliance, we partner with it because they know part of what I'm going to pick that is part of their product, the plastic bottles. So they definitely join. They've even make some financial commitments to say, okay, we want to join in the cleanup because we know this is part of our product you're picking. But the question is, do we have just 10 companies or 11 companies in the whole federation that food and beverages industry? And like I mentioned some, if you look at some big players in the industry, company like a Biggie, company like La Casera and so on, they are not part of the alliance. And these are companies that are even going into competition. We want to meet up with Coca-Cola, we want to meet up with 7-Up, and they are producing more. They are producing more PET bottles because most of them are moving away from glass now, they're moving to PET bottles. For logistic reasons, it's easy for them. Once the truck leaves their factory, it's coming back empty because it's not coming back with those plastic bottles. So the government policy, but luckily for us in Lagos State, 2 weeks ago, I was part of the stakeholders meeting. Now we have what you call the Lagos State Plastic Policy. Lagos Waste Plastic Policy. Lagos State is now coming up with their own policy also. As long as I'm in Lagos, you have to be part of the policy because you find out, for instance, the worst of them all is styrofoam. Those takeaway packs, for now, nobody is taking it because what I mentioned, we collect plastic bottles, we collect aluminum can nylon, but nobody is taking away the styrofoam. And I did the research on that too. You find out that most of the producers of this styrofoam, they're not even in Lagos. Majority of them are in Ogun State, some of them are in Delta, some of them in Abuja, but they end up pushing everything to Lagos to sell in Lagos. And once people consume, what happens? They throw them away. A very good example is that of Akhigbe Crescent. Anytime a train go there, you see the styrofoam floating, but where are the producers? They're outside Lagos. So these are some of what the government are looking to. Even if you are not producing in Lagos, but as long as a product end up in Lagos, you must take responsibility. And this will go a long way. This will create a lot of employment. For us now in RecyclePoints, like I told you, we have over 10,000 subscribers in Lagos. We have what we call the waste picker. We have about 200 of them. They're not to talk of so many households. Because what we do in most cases, we give gift item, and so on. Once you bring certain amount of plastic, certain amount of nylon or aluminum can, you get something back in return. So it's not for free, and I believe we need to do more. The lack of awareness, because even as I'm saying this to some people who are just hearing this for the first time, because the awareness is not there. But the Lagos State government are saying, once we're able to put in place the plastic waste policy, a lot of awareness will go. Even the awareness will come from the producer. Some weeks ago, I was talking to a producer. Oh, you are from Coca-Cola, you are from Nigerian breweries. When you come to entertainment, you have a lot of stars, people like Two-Face, people like Whiskey. For instance, if you see somebody like Two-Face wearing Loma uniform, or you see somebody like Whiskey picking plastic, passing a message that, oh, don't throw away your plastic in the drainage. Though once you finish drinking your soft drink, in fact, every buses should have a waste basket. And that reminded me, 2015, I was able to meet one-on-one with MC Olomo, and I discussed with him that although I'm into waste management, then Mr. Ressa was MD Oloma. So, Mr. Adewole, can you take some of our members to the UK for training? And I used the opportunity to talk to MC Olomo, and he gave me 10 of their staff, NRTW, 10 of them, and I took them to the UK. This is how the transport system is being managed in the UK. And you can notice that you can't see any waste on the road. We took them right. In fact, when we got to Sheffield, we gave them a special treatment by giving them a limousine drive that, look, we are making it special so that when you come back to Lagos, but it was literally you can do because only pick few members from Oshodi then for the training. And you see that every buses, you have a waste basket. And once they get to every station, there's somebody there that pick the basket and empty them. And as they're emptying them, they're separating them. But for instance, in Nigeria or in Lagos, we don't separate waste, but not until last year, September, the Lagos State government introduced what is called the Blue Box. The Blue Box initiative is to make sure every single household in Lagos State, they have 2 dustbins. the blue and the green. Anything going into the green is strictly for the PSP, while anything going into the blue are recyclables, whereby recycler will pick. And the plan is that every local government and every SCDA, you have a drop-off center. So at the end of the day, you have 57 recycling centers all over Lagos. But presently now, as at last week, we have 20 registered recyclers already by Loma. But the problem, like I keep on saying, is awareness. Not many people are aware. Even for instance, we operate in a mode of infested town. Majority of the people will tell you, I was just passing by and I saw this, or I saw my neighbor picking plastic and so on, and I decided to find out. The major problem has to do with awareness. And like I said, we are even looking at partnering more with the government. If you go to Ministry of Environment today at Alasa there now, we have stationed what they call the recycling bank there, a 40-feet container that was designed for everybody, because they say charity begin at home. If you go to the Ministry of Environment now, you see them separating their waste. If you go to La Sepa now, La Sepa has even banned use of nylon. Nobody should come with nylon. So once people go out and start see this sign, even we don't mind partnering with the Mr. Tinubu, whereby once you enter the bus, you see a sign. Don't throw your waste out. There's always a waste basket in every buses you enter, and every station we have a sort of, so we can always do partnership. We don't have to wait for government to do all this. We can always have a business, private sector initiative whereby we can sit and work this out. At the same time, we can also give incentives. If you're able to bring maybe 500 bottles of 500 plastic bottles, you'll be able to get a ticket for a bus ride. These are some of the issue initiatives whereby it will get to a stage, I keep on telling people, to get to a stage in Lagos State, when people are walking on the road, immediately they see plastic or nylon, they'll be fighting to pick it, because they know once I take this plastic or nylon to the nearest drop-off center, I'm getting something back in return. So it has to do with attitude. And like I said, people want incentive. Oh, if I take this nylon to these people, this is what I get. Or me that I'm even looking for a recharge card for the past 3 weeks, I'm not recharge my phone. Oh, if I am able to take maybe 30 or 40 plastic bottles to this place, I'll be able to get. So we need to start changing people orientation. We need to let them know this is not waste. It is not waste, or it is being wasted. These are resources that people need to look. Now, look at all the pictures shared so far. Most of those pictures you see there, the majority of them are plastic because they don't decay. If it is paper or organic waste, it will have decayed. But plastic, next 100 years, they remain there. They don't decay. But to me, these are raw materials. Now, let me tell you today, if you go to Lafarge Cement today, we supply them most of this plastic bottle we collect. There's a technology called RDF, refuse derived fuel. Most of this waste is what Lafarge is now using in their plants, power the plants. These are raw materials. When we have the plastic bottles, we take it to them, they burn it down, they have a system that convert this plastic to gas, and they power the plant, and the sediment is part of the raw material they use for their cement. The same thing with the pure water sachet, you drink your water, you throw them away. Those black nylon bags that Loma is giving to you is produced from those water sachets. These are done locally, but people don't know. But by the time you let people know, you drink your pure water of 5 naira, you throw them away. At the end of the day, somebody pick it up, we recycle them, and you go to the market, and how much do they sell those bags now? 300, 500 naira, you buy them from the market. And this is from the same material you throw away every day. The same thing with your aluminum can, your spoon in your house, your roofing sheet, your windows, and so on. They are produced from those aluminum cans. So many like that. All these are done locally. And the funniest thing is, the foreigner are even the one taking advantage. The Chinese and the Indian. You see them coming, oh, we need 200 tons of plastic bottles, we need 100 tons of nylon. Where are they taking them to? They are taking them to their country to produce this item and bring back to us. Let me tell you today, Nike football jersey, all their jerseys are produced from those plastic bottles. With 7 plastic bottles, they're able to produce each of these. So by the time people find out that these are raw materials, it will be very hard for us to start finding them in the drainage. And like you said, the Wole and Co., in those days, people respect them. In fact, merely seeing them in their uniform, people start running away. But today, how many of them do people respect? Or even today, can Loma or the state government, can they come out and tell us, oh, in Lagos State today, these are the number of people that were arrested from train waste, from public buses? Go to Oshodi, you see most of them sitting down there. You see even vehicles that travel from outside Lagos, immediately they get to the park, they sweep all the waste out from the vehicle and they move on. who is going to pack those waste? At the end of the day, this waste find their way into the drainage, and see a lot of complaint. I say in First Town, people complain every day, oh, Badagry Expressway, the road is damaged, water, but the problem is the drainage. If you go to the drainage, what you have there is plastic. Plastic don't decay. They only break down. They can remain there for the next 100 years. So people don't need to blame government for everything. You as an individual, what do? How do you dispose of your waste? Do you patronize the PSP? If the PSP don't come, Loma, they have a special number you need to call. You are free to report the PSP because you are paying for your disposal, not for free. But even in most cases now, with this recycling, a time will come whereby even the PSP will go around, they won't be able to see any waste to pick because you must have separated your waste one after the other, your plastic, your nylon, and the PSP will go back empty. Then you will even be the one to be negotiating. Or I have nylon, I have plastic, I have aluminum, which one do you want to buy? So you can imagine. So there's no way we can say, oh, we are going to have 100% ban of plastic, but what we should be looking at are innovation. So many innovations. There's even another lady that use plastic nylon, this nylon to produce interlock. And I have some samples, so I was able to carry out on my own. I took them to Unilab to do a test. Can you compare this plastic interlock with the normal one? And the standard is there. So we need to start also looking at innovations. If we're able to stop people from throwing all these waste into the drainage, what can we do with them? These are raw materials. So these are assets, but most people see them as liability. But I keep on telling people waste is not wasted, is not waste until it's being wasted. So this is turning waste liability into asset. Every single item in your dustbin there are raw materials. If you go to Ikorodu today now, just immediately after last Tech, there's a company there that go to Ketu Market to pick all the waste, all the organic waste, and convert them to compost. As at last time I was there, they has over 400,000 bags of compost produced from waste. And like I said, the major issue has to do with awareness. Once people are aware, these ways are thrown away. If you take you to this particular point, this is what you get back in return. Once you take your organic waste to these people, this is what you get back in return. You can even start a small farm within your household. So people attitude need to change. And that is why we in RecyclePoint, we need to now put a price tag on it. Bring this certain amount of plastic, you get this return. Bring this amount of carton, nylon, this is what you get back in return. And we'll be able to create a lot of employment opportunity, even raw materials for industry that we can't even meet up with the demand. Every day we keep on getting requests, oh, we need more. And like I told you, 150,000 tons of plastic every year. And the total collection rate is just 30%. So there's still a wide gap of 70% that we can't even cover. So that's why the Lagos State government introduced the blue box, whereby every local government will have a drop-off center, we have a recycling center, whereby you don't have to give excuse. Oh, I'm receiving a call from Ikorodu and I'm in Festac. How do you expect me to drive all the way from Festac to Ikorodu to pick your plastics? So that's why the government is making, in time of logistics, we make it easier. Every single local government will have a drop-off center. So I believe this will go a long way. I believe this discussion will even lead to more partnership. Like Mr. Tinubu said, we want to carry out these events in Ikorodu. We let them know we are not just cleaning up, but you are making money from it, from your plastic, from your nylon. These are the people that will take it from you, and this is what you get back in return. And I can bet a time will come, if you go around, you see people fighting over it. Now people even go around event centers. Immediately after the party, oh, please, can we clean up for you for free? They're not cleaning up for free, but they're picking the valuables, picking the bottles, the plastic, and so on. Now, even some event center will tell you, don't worry, we have somebody who is doing that on our behalf already, because they know you are not cleaning for them for free, but you are taking the valuables out of that. So let me stop here and wait for question and answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taiwo Adewole. That's a great presentation. Very, very wonderful. At least my mind is calm now. You and Mr. Akhigbe will not be going out of business, because essentially what you are saying, which was corroborated by the essay, was waste will be generated. That is a given. We cannot run away from it. We know the position of Lagos State in Nigeria. We know the influx of people. So waste will be generated. And then you are ready for waste, because to you, they are assets. So essentially what we're talking about is proper waste disposal so that it doesn't affect the infrastructure of Lagos State. So my mind is calm on that. You kept mentioning awareness, and frankly, I'm hearing some of the things you said for the first time. There's a blue box where there's supposed to be 2 drums or something in front of every house. I'm hearing that for the first time. And I'm sure it's not even practiced in my area because we only have 1 blue drum, you know, we don't have a blue and green. You also spoke about the extended producer's responsibility. I never even knew you were going to speak about this when I raised it with Mr. Tinubu, but I'm happy it's something you are looking at. And the essay mentioned getting rid of scavengers, which these people are making money, but they are not helping.
Mr. Roland, we lost you. Appears your internet is frozen.
Yes.
Am I back on, please?
Yes, you're on number.
All right, sorry about that typical network glitch. I have about 3 of them here, so anyone messes up. That's how we prepare for this. I had to just go back to another. So thank you very much, Mr. Taiwo Adewole. Great one. We're going to take some questions now as contributions. We will recognize some people to speak, but I'd like to ask the panelists, SARS, kindly look at all the questions. You can also read through the chats and the comments so that by the time we've taken those that raise their hand and we move from the verbal, we'll be able to take some of the texts also and you respond and then we'll start wrapping up. Zimo, please. You'll be helping me with this. Hands are raised. I see Ajaja Bukola. She has a raised hand. Can we please unmute Ajaja Bukola? Okay, I see there are now 2 participants, but let's go with. Do we have Ajaja Bukola yet?
Yeah, she's unmuted.
Okay, please go ahead.
She can
Ajaja
talk.
Bukola.
She's allowed to talk now if she wants.
Okay. Okay, can we take Toyosi below then while we wait for Ajaja Bukola to get out? Toyosi below, please.
Hello, good afternoon.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, thank you to the facilitator and the moderator. Well, I've been part of the program since commencement of this program, and it's lovely and all the ideas are good. But
Thank you very much, sir.
like Mr. Adewole said, about the EPR, we have some companies who are making profits, who are also in competition with other bigger multinationals, of course, but yet they are not giving back to the society. And I was trying to ask, in that NESRA rule or regulation, is there any punitive measure for these companies, at least to bring them or at least to coerce them into these committees?
Mr. Adewole, did you hear that question, sir?
Yes, thank you very much. They are all very much aware like I told you, this law is being backed by NESRA. They are very much aware, but the problem is implementation. It even got to a stage whereby the government are saying, since most of them import their raw materials, that if they are not part of the EPR, they need to stop them. But the law is there, but it's not being implemented. So that's why you see most of them are just on holiday. I believe they're on holiday. They are doing what they like. But the ones, the bigger ones, they know the implication because they have international standard of Coca-Cola US, Coca-Cola Europe. They are doing the same thing. They have to do same here. So, but the law is there. But I believe if Lagos State were able to implement the Lagos State plastic waste policy, it will definitely affect them. As long as you are dealing in Lagos, you are doing your business in Lagos. So if the federal law is not effective, the state law should be effective. It's just for the ministry to get this to the state assembly, and once it is passed into law, they have no option than to obey. So the problem has to do with implementation, but you know, anything that works in Lagos will definitely work nationwide. Even most time you see NESRA and the ministry coming to Lagos to learn from them. So if Lagos State is able to pass that plastic law policy, definitely they will follow.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for the answer. Just before I let you go, and then we go to some other answers, there are no raised, some other questions. There are no raised hands presently. Someone asks to you, Mr. Adewole, how can one become part of those giving recyclable items?
Like I said, presently now, if you go to Loma website, there are 20 registered recyclers in Lagos, and they are allocated per local government. Like I said, in most cases, we are in Omorodion, and you might receive a call from Ikrudu or Badagry because of logistics. So presently in Lagos, we have 20 recyclers registered. If you go to Loma website, you see all the recycler per local government there.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I hope that question has been answered. SA, this is for you, ma'am. Someone said to the SA, can the different governments, departments, agencies cooperate over this issue? The Education Ministry should incorporate environmental issues into the curriculum so we can catch them young and raise the next generations to be environmentally responsible. Whichever agency is responsible for markets, you find or reward markets, depending on how well the markets deal with their waste. Tax rebates may be given to corporate bodies who responsibly dispose of their waste. So can you speak on this matter to a certain level where we know some policies will be coming up to help with a changing landscape of cleanliness in Lagos?
Thank you, Mr. Roland. To the question as to can the agencies cooperate, we couldn't have had better synergy and cooperation between Ministry of Environment, Office of Drainage Services, and Works. As a matter of policy, this administration, Mr. Governor and Mr. Deputy Governor, we agreed that we will not embark on rehabilitation works for any road where there are drainage problems because it will amount to wasting taxpayers' money. So once we must get the drainage right, and then we can fix the road. So if you have one or two roads that are not fixing now, it's because there are drainage issues, and we need to, unless those ones are gotten right, there's no point going to go and waste money for the sake of just repairing and rehabilitating. A typical one will probably be a drainage delay because there are outward issues with the lagoon. We have to understand that the water table level has risen. Lagos and God, the 40, 50 years, Lagos will be submerged. And we're not even helping ourselves. Every day, nature has a way of work. Every day we could keep doing things that would accelerate faster. So one of the things that Office of Drainage Services to do is to see how we have a pumping station to ensure that that gets twin illuminating to get that outfall working efficiently. And once that is farmed up, then you can go immediately. In terms of synergy, Office of Drainage cleaning, preventive one, as regular. This last Lagos Badagry Expressway, the citizenry that roadway has ensured that from Office of PWC, over 6,000 man hours has been spent in cleaning. And I'll tell you why. The last two I've seen men clean. All 15 remove and all the rest, aside from the one done by Office of Drainage Services. We've also had equipment, man-hours, equipment, all there to just make sure that the flood goes away. A lot between Office of General Engineering Services and so of government. In terms of to say program advocate for the children, catching them young after we couldn't have gotten it better if you inculcate that sense of cleanliness in them. In fact, they will be the one. I what they learn, it sticks with them for a long time. I once had a young guy who is more like my nephew, coming from the US. And then we were in the hold up, and this gentleman had to, I think he needed to use the restroom. And then he was so pressed that his mom actually said, can we not stop before this boy? I said, no, let's wait to get to the eatery. There must be a eatery down some kilometers away. But the boy was pressed. The mother said, let him come down. But of course, the young man got down, wanting to actually pee, but because it was coming from, it was like an abomination. The boy came out 6 times and he couldn't even, the mom had to tell him, okay, it looks like the suggestion you made to this boy to say, let's get to the restaurant is going to work. The mom probably was believing that Nigerians, the way we are, you could just come on any side of the road and just pee. Also, when he was a young boy, the boy refused to 6 times. So what am I saying? It's an attitudinal thing. It's a culture. The boy has learned to imbibe it, and it's gone somewhere else where that looks like the boy is not ready to change. So let's catch them young, and they will begin to live right, and it will last them for years to come. I think that speaks to that. And I think on one of the questions, well, somebody asked that, don't we have long-term programs? Of course, as a state, we do have long-term. We have programs that we want to open up new routes, and that's precisely what we want to do. Even ahead of the pandemic, with the COVID, ahead of all of this one, we're already thinking ahead of for next year to see what are the roads that we can open up, new areas, rather than going backwards to confirmed that for Idioro. So it's not as if we do not hear the cries of the citizenry. We do, but given all of the fact that the non-refunding of money, where you have come to repair a federal government road, that policy stays. Every state is trying to conserve the amount of money or funds that they have for road rehabilitation. So I think that's where we have found ourselves, but we're doing the best in the present circumstances. So Idioro will be addressed. The federal government is very much on top of it. They've confirmed they're ready to start Lagos Ota, and very soon they'll move into Idioro. So I hear the cry when people say, "Oh, this is Mushio, come and repair this." Idioro Mushi, it's a federal road. I'm sure we'll address it. And where we can, we will try to ameliorate and try to put some palliatives. But those palliatives also cost money. But above all, until we begin to change our attitudes, that people know that this is the root cause of this problem. And the earlier we stop it, the better for us, because then our cost of maintaining doing those palliatives will drop down. Thank you.
I'm looking at these questions, man. I'll try to summarize them so we'll save time. This you would have seen someone recommending that you're seeing plastics, used in road making. So I won't dwell on that. But someone raised the issue of corruption, that even if we bring Wole back, what is the role of corruption to play? Another person pointed out that this issue is playing out, I think, at Apapa local government, where they are only after some certain level of rewards and they are not doing the needful. Another person spoke, all these are tied to the issue of Loma corruption and all, that disposal is becoming a very hard issue right now. And thus, you have situation where the PSPs don't come, or those trucks don't come often to pick up because they claim they don't have way to dispose. How do we go around all this, man?
Well,
corruption, Loma issue, delaying disposal and all.
If I'm not wrong, I would speak. I think the PS environment is on this platform. Mrs. Belinda, I don't know, maybe she can confirm if she's on.
Well, that would be great.
Yeah, she's just signing. I think she's still online. I
see her. Oh, I think she'll be in the best position to answer for Loma.
Is Mrs. Odene on?
Yeah, I just got in.
Mrs. Odene, good evening. Good evening, ma. Before you respond, let me say congratulations. I've not been able to come say congratulations. We were part of the team that put up the Lagos State Safety Summit in 2018.
Okay.
At Civic Center. And I'm very fine, ma. Thank you for joining us. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
All right, ma. I don't know if you pick. Okay, go on, ma. I'm listening.
I said one of my staff just texted me that there's something going on recycling and that I should log in. So I just did. But I heard Madam talking and she's answered well. The other extra thing that I wanted to add was that when we started this new administration, we now have what we call environmental education units. So we're going to schools. We already have a curriculum. We would have launched it on the 31st of March, but for COVID-19. Right now, we're still doing it. We have what we call environmental champions in the 6 districts of education. And so we are catching the children young. We're choosing environmental champions from the teachers, and they were teaching the teachers what they would teach the children in their extracurricular classes on environmental studies. We're taking climate change on the front burner because, like Madam said, Lagos is sinking, is one of the 10 cities that are sinking, and we have to do something. By the grace of God, on the 14th of July is our tree planting day, and that's our homegrown World Environment Day in Lagos. It was set aside by Governor BRF so that we will answer to climate change, because we know that our city is sinking. And the only way we can reverse it or halt loss of environmental materials is to really plant trees and make sure there are trees that are young and they can sequester carbon. And then on Loma, a lot is happening with Loma right now. We're reconstructing. Right now, as I speak, my people are in Olusosun pumping out the water. They have graded the other 3 landfill sites in Lagos so that they can take in more waste. And like Adewole is here telling us what we can do with waste. Waste is only waste when you waste it. We're now going to make waste currency. We want to be picking waste on the road, and Adewole and his group, they are doing a lot. And like you said, you've not heard of Blue Box before. There's Blue Box. It was launched by Mr. Governor September 2019. We're to have 2 kinds of boxes in front of our homes, and we've started with selected estates. We have one for biodegradables. So like in my house now, I have a container for plastics, bottles, and cans. I don't throw them away, so my bin outside does not get full because there's really nothing to throw away. Then all the food waste, they go into my plants. They act as compost. So these are the things that we want us to practice as environmentalists. If we want to save Lagos, we all need to be environmentalists. So that's really the message I want to get on, especially with Alex Omorodion and the good work that you do on that platform of Lagos, Environmental Lagos. You are really spreading the gospel of environment, and we're happy that you're doing that. Thumbs up for you. So I'm glad that this is happening, and I'm happy that I joined at the later end. There's a lot to talk about on waste being turned into wealth. And like Adewole has said, all the local governments are going to have points where we can drop off. And a time will come when it will become currency like it is in America. People are asking even for reverse vending machine where they can put in and get like a ticket, like a lotto or money or whatever. So we're getting there. It's just that for me, I see the area of discipline. I love the example that Madam gave. How can a lovely car be going in front of you? You just had a meal inside a styrofoam and a bottle of Coke and finished and dropped it out of the window. And you actually stopped them. Under my watch, I've got Loma, I've got Lagest, the Kai people. And they stop them and they ask questions. People in the vehicle ask questions. If we don't throw it, what will Loma sweepers be doing? So we need a complete reorientation, the kind of things that people say to us when we, stop them from doing things. So they make enforcement very challenging. We're doing different levels of enforcement as we speak. Sometimes when we say, oh, you look like you're doing somebody else's job, they say, do it all the same so that we can get the level of environmental sanitation that we want. This week, I think I signed like letters to all the local governments concerning the sanitation level of their local government, so that the chairman will work with the committee on environment so that we can get it right. We want the local government to be interested in the cleanliness of their area. And the ministry is going to come up with some competition next year, post-COVID, on the neatest market, the neatest local government, so that when we're doing it for gain, I'm sure people will participate. When someone thinks, oh, I'm going to get a good name and I'm going to get some gifts after, then it will help them. And then the waste management thing is going to increase, get better as we go. There's a lot going on and we'll soon see the manifestation. Thank you very much for putting this together.
Thank you very, very much. Once again, congratulations. And I'm so happy for anyone who knows Mrs. Odene. You know she's a very, very vibrant lady. And it's great when such people move up. And the impact she's been having, she's still having her present duty, and we've seen from what she said. SA, and if the PS is still here with us, I'm going to take the last question, then we'll have our rapporteur give a report on all what was said. But so far, especially from what the SA just said, I think there is need for increase in awareness. Some of the loggerheads issues in Lagos is possibly because of awareness. I'm hearing about this blue box, and I'm seeing a comment where someone is saying they too are hearing about it, and it's almost a year old in Lagos. So orientation, awareness, let's keep talking about them. One thing I've seen is Lagosians also want Lagos to succeed. And if they are led right and the policies are put, the rules and regulations are put, we have most of them that want to key in. So please, as much as possible, man, we're appealing. Let's give these things more publicity. I'm going to take Ajaja Bukola now. So please, Bukola Ajaja, are you ready for us this time with your question? Your hands are raised. Zimo, please, can you unmute Bukola Ajaja? Bukola Ajaja, are you with us, please? Okay, let's take Techno Come On 15. Techno Come On 15.
Okay, good evening.
Please. Good evening, sir. May we have your name, sir?
Okay, I'm Mr. Francis Okoro.
All right, sir. Nice to have you with us.
All right. In fact, it's been an interesting section. As a matter of fact, I ran out of data. I have to rush data back.
Wow, that's a great one. Sorry, we intended it not to be more than 2 hours, but it's been so interesting. All right, so go ahead with the question.
Interesting. In fact, I will queue in line with what Madam have said before now, please. The issue we are having here is just as she said, is orientation issue. Let me just cite an example of what happened in my area. I live around the Orile area, Alex Tinubu Street to be precise. Last week, when it was pouring heavily, last week Friday, I found out before now that most of the houses within my street here, the moment it starts raining, most will go into their houses, pack in their bins, and pour them inside the drainage.
Correct.
So it kept happening often and on. So we decided in my compound where we live, we decided, okay, what do we do? Because we live at the extreme, just 2 houses before the canal. So And at the end of the day, the whole refuge will be dumped in front of our own houses. So we decided to get a kind of, what is it called? A rod, construct a rod to put it on the drainage so that it won't allow the refuge to pass again. It can only allow water. The last week Friday, you can't believe that the whole street fought us and dragged that stuff away just because when it was pouring heavily, it started entering into their houses. So please, in fact, I had wanted to go to Koka Agoda local government to report this issue. But to be very honest, I don't even know who to meet when I get there. Because I wanted to bring to their notice the level of dates that the people that live in the government is not working during the lockdown. While we were on lockdown, the canal here at Olile Koka here, Lafia, to be precise, was being cleaned up by the Lagos State. And after cleaning it, to my greatest surprise, is not up to 2-3 weeks. I find out that the whole canal has been mixed up beyond what it was. And so it becomes a very serious issue. Madam raised the issue of we bringing back sanitation. Last Saturday of the month sanitation. I think I cue to that. I concur to that perfectly. And I also suggest that we need people that will enforce this thing street by street. People who will be very close to the people to enforce it, because if nobody is around, the same thing happens everywhere. I'm a business person. I deal on home appliances at Lagos Island. When Madam shared the issue of Adenija, because that was where I stayed, I just screamed. A law that will enforce it within the localities, because the government cannot do it for us all. We have our part and our roles to play. Had it been the people within my environment here at Olile I'm talking about now, agree with me, I told them, okay, let's pack this thing by ourselves. In fact, it is only my building and one other building in the whole street that is paying for Loma. Only 2 buildings is paying for Loma. The rest have huge park in their compounds. They just throw their bin wherever they see. Then some will carry it in the morning while they are leaving for work around 6 a.m., go to the canal and dump it by the side of the canal. So it's a very pathetic issue that we just have to look for a way to address it. On some moment with you people. In fact, I topped off for the Lagos State government on this platform that people just made. I've been looking for a way to share my view on environmental sanitation. Thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Francis Okoro. Nice contribution. It goes back to what was said on enforcement, and at the same time, Mr. Akhigbe said it, and the SE backed it up, that we need to start from individuals and then the CDAs, the estate people, what are being done. Whistleblowing is not out of this. If someone is messing up the environment for you, that person is threatening your life. So it's something you need to take up, because that's how it goes. We're connected. So when someone is doing all these things, they are a threat. An environmental threat is very hazardous. So we need to work more on them. We're going to take the last question now, and then after that we'll be taking the report from the rapporteur. Is Miss Jaja Bukola ready for us now? I hope I got that right.
Yes, I'm ready.
Zemo,
Good
please.
evening.
All right, please.
Yes,
Go ahead,
good
ma.
evening.
Good
Yeah, how
evening,
do you
ma.
do?
Fine, ma.
Yeah, God bless
Please,
you
your
for this
question.
platform.
God
Yeah.
bless you too. Thank you, ma, for
Yes, my
joining us.
question is this. Number one, the last caller had said it all concerning the issue of dumping of refuse, especially in this my locality. I mean in Jesha, in Lamoye to be precise. On Ilamoye, there are about 3 buildings that has been, in fact, I know that people like somebody like me cannot just pinpoint it, but we all know that they don't have toilets, and they are part of our problems in this area when it comes to indiscriminate dumping of refuse. Once it starts raining, you will see it. You see them start dumping. I don't know if they already have somewhere in their houses where they keep those things, and they'll start dropping them. Hence the issue of our drainage problem in this area. So number 2 is I don't know if Lagos State government can come up with this issue. I remember when I was growing up, Wole then you will run away. They should come up with them with them again, but in a more civilized manner and way, and they should not be corrupt. I don't know how we are going to do that, because when we have once one of them is corrupt, then there will be an issue. It's a form of generating revenue to the government. If you know that once you are caught, you will be fined. Everybody should be able to be, all hands must be on deck when it comes to drainage system. It is not the government alone. It is not about the government alone. Though our problems are our own problems. So I don't know how the government is going to do it. Come up with something that will at least make people to know that if enlightenment cannot work, if educating them has not worked, because I have been doing that in my area here, and you find out that a lot of people are taking you as their enemies. And even a landlord said it as, where do you want them to dump it? As if dumping refugees in gutters or when it's raining is like a right for them. Then to cap it all, Lagos Apapa Express Road in Ijesha here, Airways to be precise, they have this these truck owners, I don't know environment, Loma, they've stopped working. So Lagos State has to come up, they have to help us in this area. There was a time to send it on the environment that they should help us. The road, our Papa is all the way from Koka down, as if we are going to Oshodi. We're later to thank God our help then. We can't handle cholera. We can't handle it. Please, that is it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Ajaja Bukola. I hope I got that right. So we won't be taking more questions. We intended this discussion to last 2 hours, and here we are. It's going to about 3 hours already. We're going to take the rapporteur now, and I can see that the questions and comments are around the same thing. We want government partnership at Koshofe. We want policy implemented to find these people and every other thing. So thank God that the PS Environment, Ministry of Environment and Water Resources is there. The SA on Works and Infrastructure, she's also here. So at the end of the day, we've gotten good audience, and this will be taken up, and I'm sure policies from this discussion would arise very soon. Our rapporteur, is she with us? Our rapporteur, is she with us? Mrs. Koinsola Kuku. Is she here, please? Ms. Koinsola Kuku. I don't know what name you are signed in. Okay.
I don't think
all right.
any consular people on board.
Cool. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been wonderful so far, and want to say a very, very, very big thank you. Not all the time you have eminent personalities like you give up wonderful 3 hours of your day for a program like this, and it's been very wonderful. I'd like to appreciate the SA, Works and Infrastructure. Ma, you've been very wonderful once again. God
Thank you very much.
God
Thank you for having me on the program.
God will keep giving you the energy. How you go about this, it's just that God's strength.
It's God. It's God. It can only be God.
Thank you very much. We're grateful for
Thank
such
you.
a wonderful honor. My Oga Fola Tinubu, thank you very much, sir. We've taken your time because sometimes I wonder if you have something at your fingertips where you know about those buses and their location, and you're always so busy.
I will tell you the secret later.
Okay, I want to do. I hope it won't be as costly as LBS charges, though.
No. I'll invite you to come over to our and I'll show you the ITS. Actually, Lagos State government paid for it, so we are monitoring all the buses. We know exactly where they are at every single time. We know their location. It's a GPS-based system, so that's why I can tell you that both social and all that.
Okay. Is it similar to the? All right, sir. Thank you, Lagos State government, for what you are doing for the transport system. Is it similar to what is at the situation room in La Sema?
It's something similar.
Okay. We're definitely coming to visit you also. And yes, I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity. This shows responsiveness. The PS had, despite busy schedule, she was able to come online, and in that brief moment, Mrs. Odene chipped in wonderful things. I'm seeing comments about the competition, people loving that, and how it will improve things. Mr. Adewole mentioned also. And over to you, Mr. Adewole. I'd like to say a very big thank you. You've been so wonderful. The presentation, they're so great, sir. In fact, we'll get better. It's like we should have another one soon. Mr. Akhigbe said he was driving, so he had left us, but we thank him also for joining. But most importantly, our host is going to be the one to close this session. Zimo has been so wonderful. All this wouldn't have been possible without Zimo. He's been working tirelessly behind the scene, the technical and all that. So Zimo, I'm going to hand over to you. And I'd like to say a big thank you to Mr. Alex, founder. It's been great. Environmental Lagos platform is getting the recognition. I'm happy Mrs. Odene has singled you out for the good job you've been doing. SA has always been responsive. It will only get better. 3 years, by God's grace. The next time we'll have something like this as an anniversary, it will be at greater level. So, Zimo, over to you, please.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Roland. Thanks so much. It's been a very great opportunity being given the guy, being in the chat to take care of the technical duties behind the camera. I don't know what else to say again. We are going to go places. I believe the sky is like the stepping stone. We want to thank again once more SA on Works and Infrastructure, our guy in the house, our boss. I happened to see him in action one day at Greek, and it was wonderful. You hardly find people of such personality taking charge of things themselves. Most times people like staying behind and commanding people to zone. But he had to take charge himself. By special grace of God, we are going to get to where we're going in Lagos, but it's just a matter of time. Mr. Omorodion, may God keep giving you the grace to taking charge of this particular platform. This has been a very great session, and I hope we're going to have something like this very, very soon, because people need to get to listen to personalities like this talk about things that affect, particular things that border on infrastructure and security in particular. So we're hoping that at least we're going to have something like this in the nearest future, because that is the way to go for us. Thank you once again. We look forward to having you in this kind of fashion in the nearest future. Thanks so much. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely day. Bye-bye. Rest of the day. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for honoring us.